Tonight, I can report to the American people and to the world that the United States has conducted an operation that killed Osama bin Laden.
Where we continue to follow the capture and killing of Osama bin Laden now.
Those are just some of the scenes overnight as thousands of Americans gathered in celebration of Osama bin Laden's death.
Former Navy SEAL Rob O'Neill says he has thought about the mission every day since that May Day in 2011.
For multiple conversations you had with Rob O'Neill over the past year and a half, how'd you get
access? And you described that his head kind of exploded when you hit him.
I actually hit him 3 times because I shot him twice when he was standing and once on the ground.
That is the fucking American badass right there.
Go, go, go. We are not going for fame and we are not going for bravado. We are going for the single mom who dropped her kids off at elementary school on a Tuesday morning, and then 45 minutes later she jumped to her death out of a skyscraper.
If you need help, hang up and then dial your operator.
I'm Rob O'Neill, and this is the Operator Podcast. Well, here we are, middle of the week. This is going to be awesome. Big week for me. I'm not going to get into why. Has something to do with a baby. She's coming. I'm telling you, I'm excited. However, we have time for the Operator Podcast, which is great because it's an awesome podcast. You know, friends become enemies, enemies become friends. We're all richer for the experience, some shit like that. I stole that from, I want to say Family Guy. But anyway, this is episode 85 of the Operator Podcast. And what we do here, as you know, is I talk about stuff. I tell you my outlook on things as a former special operator, and I want you to talk to me in the comments, especially at the Operator Podcast on Instagram, at Mchooyah, MCHOOYAH. You can go there too. Like I said, I am restricted. I've been messing with that too, like changing up from professional account to personal account, trying to see if I get any reach. But the powers that be, and by that I mean the people that know how to write code, who don't like me because sometimes I tell the truth, and sometimes the truth leans a little bit on the other end of the left. They don't like it. So we lose some reach, but I think the Operator Podcast is the way to go, but check out Mchooyah as well. Tell me what you think about what we say. But today is a good day. It's a fun day because I'm going to talk with Mitch Aguiar. He's a complete badass, former Navy SEAL for 10 years, combat veteran. I'm going to ask him about some of the stuff he did in the Navy, after the Navy, before the Navy, shit like that. But he's got a great story too because he started doing MMA, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu while he was in the Navy, took over the combatives course for the East Coast, rewrote the entire curriculum based on applicability and what we do in combat with body armor, with weapons, and basically, see, not every mission you go on, you're going to be shooting people. Actually, most missions you don't, but sometimes you need to subdue people, and you got to figure subduing people, you're in a place where they don't know who you are. All they know is you're big, you're scary, your face is green, and you might be trying to kill them, so you get people literally fighting for their lives. And if you get people who think they're fighting for their lives, they fight pretty hard. A lot of them do. It turns out there's a thing called will to live. But Mitch is a Navy SEAL. He's got some great deployment stories, some post-Navy stories, too, we're going to get into. Like I said, he's a combatives guy. He is a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He's opened his own Jiu-Jitsu academy, Violent Hippie, out of Virginia. I think he's in Chesapeake, Virginia. Great supplements, massive supplements, the Smashing Greens, Smashing Reds. We're going to talk to him all about that. The way that cancel culture works. If we say stuff that the powers that be don't like, they will shut you down, and it's affected him. We're going to get into that. So I'm very excited to have Mitch Aguiar here. If you don't follow him, do follow him on Instagram. And he is at Mitch, M-I-T-C-H, _Aguiar is A-G-U-I-A-R. We're going to have a fun conversation today. This conversation is brought to you by Allegiance Gold. You know that if you've been listening to the show for a while. You also know that I think the Biden administration is making a disaster out of the American retirement system. His overspending and overprinting of money alone are the two main reasons that Americans' retirement accounts have lost 25% over the past 2 to 3 years. Did you know that the net loss on all retirement plans is $1 trillion? That number gets thrown around a lot, but that is a lot of money. And that pension plans have lost $3.3 trillion in Q3 of 2023 alone. We throw that trillion around a lot. How about this one? Under Biden, the average American family has lost $7,400 in annual income this year. That is $22,000 in total net after-tax income that has been lost per household. In fact, 60% of Americans complain that their income has not kept pace with the increases in their household expenses. And that's because of inflation. For Americans who are planning to retire with $1 million in their IRA, those accounts have lost a quarter. That's $250,000. Now, Americans are faced with having to work a decade longer than they planned, or they have to come out of retirement to recoup their losses. You can prevent this. One of the surest ways I know is with gold, because gold is a store of value and runs counter to the effects of Bidenomics. In less than 2 months, gold has risen 14%. I want you to listen to me. Because believe me, I know the power of gold and what it can do for retirement accounts. Whether you prefer gold and silver or simply want to protect your IRA or 401k, I would trust, and I do trust, the specialists at Allegiance Gold, who have the highest trust ratings in the precious metals industry. You will not be disappointed. I know them. I've spent time with them. Their relationships are based on integrity, expertise, and impeccable service. So here's a website to check out, and I love it. Go to protectwiththeoperator.com today and download my free wealth protection guide. I'll tell you everything you need to know about gold. Or you can call my favorite phone number, 844-5-US-SEAL. That's 844-5-US-SEAL. Protect your retirement with Allegiance Gold and get up to $5,000 in free silver on a qualifying purchase. Or you can call them today at our favorite number and begin your stress-free journey toward financial freedom. Dial 844-5-US-SEAL or go to protectwiththeoperator.com. Your new favorite website too, protectwiththeoperator.com. Once again, that number is 844-5-US-SEAL. Go check out Allegiance Gold. I promise you will be happy. This episode of the Operator Podcast is brought to you by BetterHelp. If you follow the show, you know that I talk about mental health. In my case, post-traumatic stress. In many veterans' case, post-traumatic stress as well. But you do not need to be a combat veteran to have stress. I have all kinds of friends that aren't in the military, are not vets, and they, it's common to have depression, anxiety, just kind of be down in the dumps. I've been there. And sometimes you can learn and grow when you talk to someone. BetterHelp is completely online and you can do it from home. All therapists are licensed, accredited professionals. BetterHelp allows you to connect with them in a safe, convenient online environment. You pay a low, flat fee for unlimited therapy with your therapist. Therapy does not have to be expensive. You can do this on your own time. You can do it at your own pace. You can communicate with therapists as often as you want or whenever you feel like you need it. Thousands of people have benefited from therapy. I mean, check out the reviews here. With BetterHelp, you can switch therapists at any point if you don't feel like you're getting the benefit. If you're thinking about starting therapy, and there's nothing wrong with thinking about it, you should give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online. It's designed to be convenient and flexible and suited for your schedule. You fill out a questionnaire, you get matched with a therapist, and like I said, you can switch them anytime, change anytime. It's always good to talk to someone. This is a great opportunity to do it. Discover your potential with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/operator today, and you can get 10% off your first month. 10% off your first month with code OPERATOR. That's BetterHelp. HELP.com/operator. All right, here we are. Another great episode of the Operator Podcast. Today is going to be fun. And actually, I've been looking forward to doing this for a while. I wanted to do it in person, but we don't have the in-house studio yet. And it's probably better for me because if I say the wrong thing, it'd take Mitch a while to get up here and get things straight. But I have former Navy SEAL Mitch Aguiar with me. He's a Navy SEAL, East Coast, MMA fighter, just an all-around badass. Very cool with some of the, he's got a Adopt a Cop foundation where he helps police officers learn how to basically fight and how to handle people and the politics involved with that, just because there's certain, I'm going to let him get into that, but Mitch Aguiar is here. Welcome to the Operator Podcast, my friend. I'm really excited to have you on.
Hey, thanks, Rob. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it. Yeah, we've been talking about doing this for a while. So excited to be getting it done.
Yeah, it's about time. There's a lot of good stuff to talk about. Navy SEAL stuff. Obviously, people want to hear about, and I do want to get into how you got into that. But can you give us a little bit of background, where you're from, how you grew up, and like was fighting always a thing? I mean, like technical fighting, mixed martial arts, or did you get into that later?
Yeah, no. So I actually am from Virginia Beach. I grew up here. I was born at Portsmouth Naval Hospital, and my mom and dad were both in the Navy. And so I was born here, lived here until almost I was halfway through fifth grade, and my parents ended up getting divorced, and I ended up moving to Maryland with my dad when I was halfway through fifth grade. Stayed there until 10th grade, and then I moved. At that time, my mom had remarried to my stepdad, who was also in the Navy, and they lived in Ohio. They had gotten out of the Navy and moved to Ohio because that's where he was from. So I ended up moving in 10th grade to there and finished up high school in Ohio. So I was kind of all over the place, but yeah, no, growing up fighting, I didn't fight like technical, like a martial art. I did karate very briefly, but I thought it was really, really stupid. So, I think most kids especially back in the 90s, did karate at some point for at least a day or a year and got their belt. But, no, so I didn't do like formal martial arts too much, other than that. But I always grew up fighting. I tended to bully bullies,
Nice.
My little brother growing up, he was a year younger than me, and he was fat growing up, and my parents, were very aggressive people, and they encouraged me to be very protective of him. And it was, hey, your brother's going to get made fun of, or if he gets made fun of in school, like, I don't care where you are, principal's office, cafeteria, classroom, bus, you better just beat their ass and, make a statement like that. No one's to mess with your brother. And I took that to heart, and grew up kind of fighting all the time. And it's just kind of in me to be protective.
No, that's really cool too. I mean, I don't think a lot of people do that now. Look out for your brother and his family, and wherever you are, protect him.
It wasn't, and it stemmed with him, but that was just kind of the overall theme. Like, you should protect the people that can't protect themselves, and or who are getting bullied or harassed or whatever. I mean, I truly feel that, like, my strength and aggression are a blessing, and I utilize them justly.
What was your go-to, like, because you did like some taekwondo, and I think most of us did growing up. Like, what was your go-to in like a schoolyard fight?
Just straight up, just haymakers. Yeah.
just swinging until you're tired.
Never. I didn't wrestle growing up. Obviously I didn't do jujitsu till I was in my 20s.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a black belt in jujitsu now. But back then I had no even real thought of going to the ground. It was all just punching. That was it.
Yeah, but that's kind of the way it went too. Because that was what time of what part of the 90s was that? Because jiu-jitsu really got introduced to the world during the very first UFC from Hoist Gracie. What was that around your time?
How old were you then? I didn't even hear about the UFC. I was born in 89. Okay. I just turned 35. So I didn't hear about. I'm trying to think when I even saw my first like UFC or something similar, like a cage fight. I feel like I was in maybe high school or something like that, like middle school, when I had maybe even heard of it as a thing, and it was very like underground almost feeling. It certainly wasn't mainstream. But boxing was like mainstream, that like Mike Tyson, that, we all heard about that and saw that. And, but yeah, didn't ever have any interest in wrestling. Both of my brothers wrestled a little bit growing up, and I was just like, that's gay. I don't want to do that.
Now Ohio's
I'm like, I wish I would have wrestled.
Yeah, no kidding. Oh, me too.
Right.
Ohio's a big wrestling state, isn't it?
It is, yeah. In high
That's what I
school,
thought.
yeah, definitely. And I played football my whole life. I grew up playing football and basketball and lacrosse. I played lacrosse too, and I enjoyed those sports. I wanted to play hockey because that was a sport that they allowed you to fight in. And that was literally my only motivation to play hockey. But I was a terrible ice skater, so I was like Happy Gilmore,
Yeah. I was in high school watching the first UFC. I remember being at a poker game, I think on a Saturday night, and expecting like the sumo wrestler to win or whatever, and then you get this little dude in a gi. We didn't know if he's a taekwondo guy or whatever, because the taekwondo guy, I think from Colorado, got his ass whooped by, I think, Ken Shamrock, and then Hoy starts winning these fights from the guard, and everyone's like he was like stopping and saying to the ref, "This guy is tapping." And I don't know if you know what I don't think the ref knew what a tap was, and I think like Brian Kilmeade from Fox News was hosting it, like one of his first gigs. No one knew what the hell was going on. I don't think that the world knew what was about to be unleashed on him with that, because it seemed like to me, even when a wrestler would fight a jiu-jitsu guy, at first the jiu-jitsu guy had the advantage because the wrestler doesn't want to get pinned, so he wants to give you his back almost.
Well, it depends. Okay. Like if you, because I've grappled with some really high level wrestlers, and they are a problem if their wrestling is super high level. Just their ability to control and pin people down and use their weight and just feel like 1,000 pounds, the pressure that they can apply. Most wrestlers have an issue with jiu-jitsu guys exposing their neck, shooting in for a shot and getting guillotined, because that's not something that they're used to having to worry about. But that's usually wrestlers' biggest hurdle in the beginning, is exposing their neck like that.
Yeah, I remember because I'm a little bit older, and when it first started coming out, the guillotine was like the go-to, because no one really knew what the hell was happening. And like going back home for me on leave, getting in a stupid bar fight, the guillotine always came out clutch, and no one knew what the hell was going on.
Man, it's crazy. I just can't even imagine the advantage that those guys had, the Gracies had, just being, at a black belt level of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and going in to fight, and people have no idea.
No idea. Well, I mean, even in that first one, there was a boxer who
have you ever done jiu-jitsu?
Yeah. Not as much as I should have. It's one of those things where I was like, damn it, I started in 1999. If I would have stuck with it, it would have been kick ass, but just never worked out that way. Every now and then. But it's one of those things, looking back now, it's like, damn.
Even when you do a little bit of jujitsu, it really exposes you to how much you don't know, and how like deep that pool of knowledge is. So like just thinking about, I mean, when I grapple with someone that has never done jiu-jitsu, I mean, it's like you're like playing with a toddler, no matter if they're big, strong dude. Doesn't
seriously,
matter.
And when I started rolling, Gustavo in Virginia Beach was a brown belt, and I think Frank Cucci was a purple belt. And now, like, obviously instructors are black belts, but even then, like, fighting a brown belt, he's going to destroy you. Even a Navy SEAL fighting a 20-year-old Brazilian dude going to destroy you.
A blue belt will destroy you. And that's what the whole premise with Adopt-A-Cop is, like everybody and for those of you who don't know, Adopt-A-Cop BJJ is the charity that I started. And that was in response to, during the whole George Floyd and Black Lives Matter and all this shit. And there was a lot of shootings, or not a lot, but there was probably 10 shootings or something that year. And all those situations, I, like any other jujitsu practitioner, I was like seeing these unfold, and I was like, man, if that cop knew a blue belt level of jujitsu, this could have been avoided.
Yes.
And and just from watching these videos, it seemed to me that the majority of them stemmed from a lack of training or fear almost, and it's like this, I don't want to go hands-on with this person because I'm not confident in my abilities, so I'm going to go to my weapon immediately. It's like that escalation of force. When you're in fear for your life, you go to that. And but if you were better trained in your abilities to control the situation with your hands, you wouldn't be in fear for your life. So that was kind of how the whole program started. I was like, these cops just knew a blue belt level of jujitsu, it'd be night and day in any kind of grappling situation or scenario. So that's how it started. And now, that's what we do. We pay for police officers to learn Brazilian jiu-jitsu until the rank of blue belt.
Yeah, that's awesome too. Well, yeah, we had some jiu-jitsu guys when I was excuse me, when I was at SEAL Team 6, we would, like Gustavo, we'd bring him in and he developed prisoner handling, going from your weapon to the ground, how to cuff, and just from the stuff that we had before, like I don't even remember what they called it. They had scars first, and they had that Dwayne Dieter stuff, and then jiu-jitsu came in, and just the way you could manipulate prisoners was so much easier, so much better, and it's safer even for the bad guy. Like what are your thoughts on, like, obviously New York politicians completely suck, and there's like they banned a chokehold because they're so damn ignorant. They think a choke is going to kill someone, where I think a choke is probably the easiest way to subdue someone, and they'll be fine when they wake up, a little bit scared and disoriented, but they'll be in cuffs and fine.
Yeah, I mean, because they're looking at like, oh, that's what happened to George Floyd. No, George Floyd died of fentanyl, but
yeah.
So, and he wasn't choked, and a choke isn't going to kill you. I choke out people every day in my gym. I let my students choke me unconscious.
I've seen videos of you letting I think one of your female students choke you out. Yeah, and now, okay, since we're there, and now is that to prove to your student what it's like, or how easy it is, or what's the point of that? I mean, I've been choked out, even when I didn't plan on it. But when you're letting someone choke you out, what is the purpose?
It's more to ease their like fear of being choked unconscious. That because a lot of people are afraid of. They're afraid, and they don't, and they panic or whatever. And it's not something that, it's not scary. It's not something, it's actually euphoric,
No, it is. I was going to say that too. I've heard of, I've heard of people choking themselves with a belt, trying to do some stuff by themselves. And it can end badly if you don't have a swim buddy.
Yeah. You got to have a spotter, autoerotic asphyxiation is the thing, but
do you, I didn't think we were going to get into that here. I'll be honest. Do you think you think it would be, I mean, politics aside, I know all politicians care about is their own power and getting reelected. They don't really care about their constituents. I don't think that. I think people get power to keep power, and they never want to relinquish it. But do you think if they really cared about the people, you could get like a jiu-jitsu practitioner to tell politicians that, hey, if you allow them to choke, there will be less shootings?
I think that jiu-jitsu is becoming more and more mainstream and popular every single day. And I think it's only a matter of time before someone who is a politician, starts doing jiu-jitsu. I mean, shit, even Mark Zuckerberg is a blue belt now.
Right. I know.
And he's like, kind of super into it. So hopefully at some point, one of these politicians. And just for the record, I fucking hate all politicians.
Yeah, me too.
They're all criminals. I hate every one of you. But hopefully one of them and join jiu-jitsu, and hopefully they come to my gym so I can choke them the fuck out. But
that's cool. And yeah, that should happen. That'd be awesome too. Plus the violent hippie thing is, I think that's the coolest one out there. I think you explained it to me one time. Didn't someone ask you, why does it say violent hippie? Like they were saying you can't be both.
Yeah, I mean, we get that all the time. I mean, obviously, it's kind of like an oxymoron to most people, and they're like, "Oh, that doesn't make sense" or whatever. And I'm like, "Of course it does." Like you can't. I'm all about peace and love, and I think unity, and that I think that we're all one. I think that we're all one with animals, plants, the earth. We're all one. But there are assholes out there, that want to inflict harm on others or just cause harm to others. And the only thing, you're not going to be able to peace and love and, kiss your way out of that sometimes.
Yes.
Sometimes the only thing they respond to is an ass whooping, or, and you have to be willing and not only willing and able to inflict that, but like capable, of doing that. So that's why our motto is be kind or else.
Or else. I love that. That's my new favorite one. What I liked is what is the best way to learn a new language? Immersion. If you can live in that country and speak daily with native speakers, that's the best way. However, if doing immersion is not in the cards in 2024, you can learn a new language the second best way, and that is with Babbel. 1 in 5 Americans have learn a new language on their bucket list. If that's you, make 2024 the year you can mark it off the list. Join millions of Babbel language learners across all age groups. Babbel is conversation-based learning built with science-backed cognitive tools like spaced repetition and interactive lessons created by real language teachers and voiced by real native speakers. Babbel's advanced speech recognition is like having your own personal language coach to help improve your pronunciation and get you prepped and confident for real-world conversations. Facile à commander dans la nourriture. Parler à connaissance, conversation de base. Fast forward to the end of 2024. Think of your goals. What can you do right now to give yourself the best chance of succeeding? If you want to learn a new language, you should absolutely get Babbel. Plus, Babbel's speech recognition technology helps you to improve your pronunciation and accent.
Tu as quel âge?
Tu as quel âge? Here's a limited time offer. Here's a special limited time offer for our listeners. Right now, get 50% off a one-time payment for a lifetime Babbel subscription, but only for our listeners at babbel.com/operator. That's 50% off at babbel.com/operator. That is spelled BABBEL.com/operator. Babbel.com/operator. Rules and restrictions may apply. Go check out Babbel. Kind of the way that maybe I heard it from like Jeff Gum or somebody, but it's like, look, I love to hug trees. I'm all about clean water, but if you start something, I'm going to put your hands in your pockets for you. And it's almost like with my personal thought is violence is not doing anything until you need to convince someone else. Other than that, it's just a suggestion. If you try to force something, you can't back it up, then you're kind of screwed. You're at the point where you're banking on their good intentions.
Yeah, and people don't have good intentions. And what are you going to do when they try to implement or force things upon you? And you, at what point are you just going to lay down and take it, or are you going to defend yourself and defend your what your values are? And I think that you can be both.
No, you totally can.
Yeah, so that's kind of what it's about. It's kind of how I identify my, so I figured I figured it would kind of be like a beacon, when the right people read that violent hippie, they're like, they just immediately identify. They're like, yes, that's what I am. Like, that's me,
It seems to me,
I'm not like Republican, liberal, or just Democrat or whatever. It's like, oh no, I'm a violent hippie. That's what I am. Yep.
And it seems too like the more people that train, the less violence there is. And like what I love about my limited jiu-jitsu is that I'm less inclined to start a fight, even with the dude with the long hair on a scooter, because he might be a black belt. I don't know.
Yeah.
And just, sometimes you just don't want to get in. It's almost like it can be more peaceful. The more people know, the less violent it could be, I think.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if you go into a jiu-jitsu academy, I mean, it's all walks of life, all body shapes and sizes, and you have no idea who's a killer and who's just a turd. Like you have no idea. Sometimes they do look the part. You're like, oh, that guy looks like he's good, and he really is. And then other times, wow, that guy looks like he's good and he's terrible. Or that guy looks soft and doesn't look like shit, and then strangles the fuck out of you. So, it's totally unassuming. And the cool thing is anybody can learn it. And black belt is just a white belt that didn't quit. And they just keep coming and showing up. And if you do show up and put in the time and learn these techniques, you will be able to beat your opponent. It's, of course, physicality plays a role in it, but the technique, it's not like you're guessing, right? There are rules that are like, almost written in blood, like, that are staples of jujitsu. And like, you don't extend your arms. You don't, there's certain things you do. You take away space on the top, you create space on the bottom. Like there's these fundamentals that are there for a reason because they work. And when you roll with someone, like, after you understand these and you roll with someone that doesn't know them, and all of a sudden, like, they just start guessing, and they're extending their arms and stuff. And you're like, oh, wow, this person has no idea what they're doing. And they just set themselves up so easily to get submitted. And it's all about like position over submission. So you're fighting for that better position. It's like a step-by-step process. It's not guesswork. It's not instinctual, really. And it's a system, and it works at all levels, and that's what's cool about it. And regardless of who you are, if you learn the system and you go against someone that doesn't know the system, you're going to win. It's like chess, where there's a system to chess, and there's like rules to chess. And if you just go out there and guess, and you open up with your pawn on the very end, and you go out, and if you're playing against someone that knows how to play chess, you're like, oh, this guy doesn't know what the fuck they're doing, and they're just gonna piece you up, and that's kind of how it is with jiu-jitsu.
Now with jiu-jitsu, is there a point, because I heard a couple dudes talking, like, once you get to purple belt, you kind of know most of the stuff.
Warm-ups.
I did see that. No, someone was saying at a purple belt level, you kind of know everything. It's just a matter of mastering it and finding out, like chess, 4 or 5 moves ahead and quicker.
Yeah. So I would say, once you get to a purple belt level, you should basically know all the things that a black belt does. The black belt's just been doing them longer, and, it's more solidified in them. But the thing I like about jiu-jitsu is it's not like or karate, you get your black belt in 2 years or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. 9-year-old black belts. It's just not that's bullshit. But like, jiu-jitsu's, you're talking like the average person to get to black belts 10 years of mat time, so that's a ton of repetitions. That's a ton of time in bad positions, because nobody's going to start out at jiu-jitsu and be good. That's the other cool thing about it, is the type of people that do jiu-jitsu or are in a jiu-jitsu academy are types of people that are okay with working towards something and that delayed gratification. Whereas, our society is very much, especially now, it's like short attention spans, very much need that instant gratification, that kind of shit. And, and we're seeing the negative effects of that, throughout our society. But in a jiu-jitsu academy, you're not going to be good at jiu-jitsu. That's just fact. I don't care who you are. You're just not going to be great right away. You're going to lose matches. It's humbling, and you have to overcome adversity. You have to be persistent and consistent. And, so and it is humbling. So you're in that environment. If you're at a good academy, everybody there is going to be cool. Everyone's going to be, understanding, like, hey, I was just in your shoes, and they want to help you get to like the next level, and, at least that's how it is in my academy. I've been at academies, I've trained at academies all over the place, all over the country, all over the world. And I've taken things I like and don't like, and taken things I've liked from all those and applied them to my academy, and removed all the other shit. And, our motto here is be kind or else. Like, no one's coming in, cause that's the other thing too. Like, someone coming in off the street into a jiu-jitsu academy, especially nowadays where people know the power of jiu-jitsu or how effective it is, or, that's an intimidating thing in itself, and then to go in there, and if you just are oh, fresh fish is here. Now I get to try out my flying armbar on this new guy or whatever, and like hurt them or whatever, then you're not going to get any retention. Like those people aren't going to want to come back.
Yeah.
And nor should they. And but like you shouldn't be having that type of environment in your academy or allowing that, so that, our motto is be kind or else, and that goes for everything, and so when we have new people come to our academy, it's like everybody is super welcoming, super helpful. Everybody wants to, and understands like, hey, I was in their shoes,
good,
not that long ago, and I want to help them get up to speed and learn like things that I messed up, things that helped me, whatever. So it's cool.
Yeah, I was going to ask how as the guy running the show over there, how do you welcome like a new white belt that doesn't know anything? What kind of instructors do you have with them, or do you do it, or what do you start them with on day one?
Yeah, I like to go. So we have a beginner's class and we have an advanced class as well. But I like to take people that have never done jiu-jitsu at all and explain to them like the basic fundamentals and like laws of jiu-jitsu, so that and that takes about 30 minutes, I would say, to go through all of that. And then I have them do like go through all the positions, mount, rear mount, guard, close guard, open guard, like just go through all of them just to have just so that they see it and can put a visualization to the names of these positions. And then like the basic overview of like what you want to do. Like when you're in someone's guard, the only thing you want to be focusing on is passing their guard. Like you shouldn't be worried about trying to get a submission from here. It's position over submission, and like I'll show them and I kind of do this little walkthrough series of like passing the closed guard, getting to side control, and then the person now that's on bottom side control closing their guard, retaining their guard. So so it's kind of this little drill, and I do a couple of those so they understand like the overall big picture view. But then obviously those are broad strokes, but then it's all dialed in. It's a system. But if you just go into a jiu-jitsu gym and watch people rolling around, you have no idea what's going on. Yeah. You're just like, okay, that guy's on top, that guy's on bottom. Okay, that guy just rolled him over. I don't know what's going on. But if you understand, then like so after I do that little like 30 minutes with them, that little drills and systems and talking through them through that, then we'll watch like the people rolling in class and see, okay, do you see that's what he did? Do you see what he's doing? Blah, 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 and kind of talk them through it. And then like, you see the wheels turn like, oh, okay. Now I understand what I'm looking at, somewhat. I have an idea, but I tell people it's like learning a foreign language, it's like, and today you just learned hola, but it's going to take a long time to get fluent in this language.
So, have you ever have anyone come off the street and challenge you?
Off the street and challenge me? I don't think so. Not in jiu-jitsu, and like no one's ever like come in my academy and tried that. I've had people do that to me, like with slap boxing and stuff like that, which ended pretty funny.
Now, what's that? Okay, you can't stop with that. What's that story?
Oh, well, so I was actually at the Navy SEAL monument, the statue here in
Virginia Beach.
Virginia Beach. And during the BLM kind of all that bullshit that was going on here, there was a BLM chapter here that was causing issues down at the ocean front, and they were saying that they were going to, vandalize the police statue and the Navy SEAL statue. And I was like, oh, okay, cool, I'll meet you there. And so I put on my body armor and rifle and went down there and stood down there and just was gonna guard it. And then I saw there.
You got me?
Oh, sorry.
No, good.
I don't know what's going on here.
I got you still.
You hear me? Okay. Yep. Yeah, and there ended up being like 6 other SEALs there. Which was cool because I thought I was just going to be by myself. and and they had like um Overwatch on like some of the balconies in the hotels nearby and stuff, and I was like, oh shit, okay, this is cool.
Did anyone show up?
No one came and fucked with it. A couple guys came up, but again, like, we were just chilling there, just like, hey, fuck around and find out sort of thing. Right. But luckily no one tried anything. But there was this one dude that came up, and he was kind of drunk, and he was just like, oh, you look like a fighter. And I was like, yeah, I am. And he was like, oh, you want a slap box? And I was like, sure. And just slap the shit out of him pretty good.
Did you go let him have the first shot, or did you hit him first?
Hey,
whatever you.
No, I don't remember. I have the video. I can send you the video.
Oh, you better send me the video. I'm gonna post that.
No, I have the video. I think I posted it on Instagram, and they deleted it for whatever.
Yeah, for whatever reason, because you were standing up for something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, now how does that work at Virginia Beach with body armor and a gun down in the ocean front?
Well, and that was kind of funny too, because I'm pretty well known around here in this area, and for one, I adopt a cop and helped a lot of the police, and then also I did a ton of fighting here, so and I was always the main event of the fight league here, and so people knew who I was, and but when that happened, I put on my body armor and rifle and walked right down the boardwalk, and and the cops ended up coming up to me, and they were like, we gotten like 30 911 phone calls, and they were just like, yeah, we know it's Mitch. And but I'm not doing anything. I'm not breaking the law.
No, you're not breaking the law. That's good.
It's an open carry state, and
nothing was vandalized. So I mean, mission accomplished. That's peace through strength. I think
exactly. It's fucking peace through strength. Like that's what we're supposed to have.
Yeah. Well, again, it's back to the point too, is I can be violent, but if we all behave, nothing's going to happen. It's fine.
Absolutely.
Everything that I have is contained if I needed to.
And the cops' fucking hands were so tied, and they always are. So like, it's like, at what point are American citizens going to fucking pick up the slack? It's like, and I've been saying this shit, at nauseum lately about like our tyrannical government just needs to be fucking checked. And that's what the Second Amendment is for. Yes. It's not for fucking hunting,
totally. No, it's not. And even, I mean,
and you don't have to do that through violence. You can just do it. You can have peace through strength. Like,
seriously. Well, that's the whole thing with strength, is a deterrent, because they know if they act up, then something will happen. But like right now, I mean, look at Israel, look at Ukraine, look at China, look at the Red Sea, all that stuff. That's all happening because they know we won't do anything about it.
Yeah, it's beyond pathetic to me that France is, and their citizens are doing a better job with checking their government than we are, and it's just, I don't understand what it's going to fucking take for American people to like finally say enough is enough and understand like their constitutional duty, and like, we're supposed to fucking, our founding fathers knew that government was going to get tyrannical and out of control, and you're supposed to remove them. You're supposed to do that. And you can do that. Again, you don't have to do violent. You don't have to be violent, but we have the Second Amendment for a reason. Like, it's to protect ourselves against the government.
Against the government too. It has nothing to do with hunting. And even as dumb as the politicians are, like in California and New York, they make these rules where limited capacity magazines, and you can't eject it without using a tool. All this stuff that's going to totally kill you in a gunfight when you're fighting someone with an illegal weapon that doesn't have that has the full capacity magazine. It can change mags if they need to. All you're doing is handcuffing the normal people, and it's not the legal owning gun. I mean, it has been a little bit in the past, but generally the vast majority of legal gun owners are not the problems whatsoever. And it's all these ridiculous rules aren't going to help. But it was never for hunting. They're like, how many bullets do you need to hunt? It's like, well, an AR-15 is going to be good in my house if I get attacked by 10 people. And I'm going to need extra mags with extra rounds.
Yeah. And, and my thing is like, if our country could see through this bullshit and see this game that's going on and see that it's not black versus white. It's not fucking any of that. It's literally we the people versus the government. The government is the common enemy to all. They are the ones that are trying to keep American citizens, divided and hating each other, left versus right, yes, black versus white, all that, because they do not want us to unite. Because I don't care if you have one bullet in a pistol, if all of America fucking united and grabbed their one gun and their one pistol and marched on fucking the Capitol or whatever, and again, not in a violent way, but just in a peace through strength and strength in numbers. Like, what the fuck are you going to do? What are they going to do at that point? Like what?
Well, I mean, we sort of saw what they're going to do, because on January 6th of 2021, that, they knew there'd be a big rally there, but they also knew that if they can get a few feds in there, allegedly, to open the gates and let them escort in, they're going to act up a little bit, and they can use the word insurrection to prevent Donald Trump from running again in 4 years. And
what would happen?
You got to give the Democrats credit. They're very, very organized, and they see the long game, where the Republicans are just weak
pussies.
Yeah, completely. I mean, not all of them. We're starting to get a few veterans in there that I think are gonna do a good job. But I tell you what, those the guys that have been in there 30+ years, that's uniparty. They all know each other. They all drink together. They all talk together.
Okay,
backroom deals, and then having
these veterans that are getting in. Like, I want to know, did any of them vote against this fucking money to Ukraine and stuff? Like,
I got to look into that too. I know some of them did. I just don't know who yet, but I know some guys are in there that are good. But I think it's going to take two. Again, it's got to be numbers. You got to get. I think veterans are the best bet, because at least they'll get in a room and talk to each other. Because Democrats and Republicans, the politicians, won't even eat in the same cafeteria anymore. But vets will get together, and you need some sort of I think you need a group of people to go around and sort of take the reins. But that's a long time in coming. And some guys that have been in there are like, this place is so corrupt, I'm getting out. 2 terms in, that's enough for me. And it's a sad state of affairs, but that's where term limits come in. But the problem is the lawmakers are the ones voting on the term limits, and that's them. And they, like I said, they're not going to relinquish their power no matter what.
Yeah, it's scary. It's definitely like scary to think that this, I'm not convinced that we're not just kind of fucked as a country, and like it hasn't gone too far, and it has, that the power isn't too in one side's hands.
China's been fighting this game for a long time. Everything from sending over honeypots for politicians to lining pockets of politicians, and then sending their sleeper cells to the southern border. Because, I mean, and I hate to be right, but when China tries to take Taiwan, or does take Taiwan, if we defend them, they're going to activate sleeper cells here. And you asked, what's it going to take for us to reunite? The sad truth is, it's going to take something like an attack, an EMP, or something here. But if you think about this, especially these younger generations, if there is a war here, I don't think a lot of them are going to fight. I don't think they have it in them. They're going to take the path of least resistance. A lot of collaborators, like the damn mayor's son in Red Dawn. You're going to see a lot of that, especially on the left coast when they come in, because I don't think there are people that have it in them. There are some, but not a lot of them. Like in Portland, Oregon, you think they're going to fight against China?
I don't think people understand like the real possibility or threat that like an October 7th can happen here, and especially with the border wide open and all these military age fighting men from China and from all over that are pouring in. And it's not like these mom and little kids seeking a better life. It's people with potentially bad intentions, coming in here. And again, yeah, they're down for the long game. They're down to be patient, tactically patient, and wait for the time to strike.
Yeah, we have the clocks, but they have the time. And also what they're doing now, they're learning they can get these people from everywhere from Africa to Asia into Mexico, and then get them a cheap flight from Mexico to Canada. They're actually coming over in the States in the Northeast now too. Both borders are open, and everyone's realizing that. And a wall is a sort of a deterrent, but it's the policies that are going to keep them out. People are going to get in if they want to get in, but these politicians, simply because of personal power, want more potential voters here because they think if they were the ones that got them in, they'll reelect them. And it's that simple. It's Washington, D.C. is a magnet for narcissists, and most politicians and a lot of lobbyists and a lot of those lawyers out there are. And they're the ones, the NGOs, making the calls that the lawmakers aren't even doing. It's lobbyists, it's banks, people paying for campaigns. I mean, that those are the guys making the rules. Even, in Congress, these backdoor, closed door meetings, that's bullshit because you represent the citizens. But there are people here that don't know where Canada is, that don't know there's 50 states. They don't know when we were founded, who we fought in the Revolutionary War. And that's, again, what the communists did by infiltrate the schools and teach them to be morons.
Yeah. And, beyond that, I think they want to replace the military, because they're trying to get these illegals to be able to serve in the military. And I think what's happening is, they're pushing this woke agenda and more bullshit. And they're pushing all the people that are independent thinkers and people that see, what's going on, COVID, all this stuff for what it is. And they're saying, you know what, fuck this. I'm out of here. Like, I'm not doing this. And then you're going to only be left with fucking yes men in the military. And then eventually, like, even those people are going to get out, and it's going to be brought in with these illegals that are coming over. And, do you think they're going to have any issue with, martial law? And if that's, becomes a thing, and it's shoot at these protesters, shoot at these American citizens, like these aren't your real countrymen. They're not fellow patriots, and that's what I think, kind of it could possibly happen. And I think is what one of the things they're trying to set up.
Well, I mean, even with everything from the Soros funded district attorneys to, everyone in the cashless bail, to defund the police, to take everything away from the police, to lose the deterrent. If I'm a criminal and I see that there are criminals in Florida that go to New York, steal in New York, go back and sell the stuff in Florida, and they ask them, why don't you just steal in Florida? And they're like, well, because we'll get arrested and put in jail here in New York. It's free for all. Just the other day in New York, three or four people went into Gucci and walked out with $50,000 worth of shit, not paying for it. They're gone. The incentive's not there. And I think what people don't
even hide their faces. They don't do any of that. They just walk in nonchalant, take it, walk right out.
And what they don't realize too, if you get dudes from Afghanistan, Senegal, sub-Saharan Africa, and they grow up very, very like real poverty, and they come here, if they get here illegally, they're not trying to assimilate. They don't give a shit about the Constitution. It's fucking mayhem. It's Bree time, baby. And I don't think people realize that they're not going to assimilate, especially in these numbers, and we're losing the country just because of that. Taking away the pride, like you said, separating, divide and conquer, African American, Asian American, Irish American. It's like we all are, like, even the Black national anthem. The national anthem is for everybody. You don't need to make one for each group and divide and conquer. And all that's doing is pissing people off.
Yeah, no, it really is. And and it sucks that. It sucks that our society is so fucking pussified too, that
completely.
I would never, if I saw somebody do that in a store and just come in and grab shit off the shelf and try to walk out, I have nothing to do with the store, whatever. I'm absolutely going to grab that motherfucker and hold him down and be like, absolutely not. Like, what the fuck? This is a society, like you can't have that shit. But our society is so pussified. And then not only that, but the people that do take action get fucking punished.
Yep. Again, New York, the
Marine in New York that choked that guy out. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's,
and everybody on the train
should be looked at as a fucking hero, like.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, the issue too is that I travel a lot. I talk to a lot of the country, and on a positive note, most Americans actually agree with us. The problem is the leftists own the media and the social media, so they're going to give you the bullshit. Most people feel like this. Everyone on that train thanked that Marine for subduing that guy because he was walking around being a menace. This Marine put him down, and that's that. I mean, most people want that, but they're not going to. They're going to push their narrative. You got those shooters in Kansas City the other day. We're not really talking about them because they didn't quite fit the straight white male with a MAGA hat. So we're kind of just put that in the back burner.
Yeah, of course. No, and everybody sees it. And, what it takes is, I think, people speaking the fuck up, and calling it like it is and not being afraid to be labeled a racist, labeled a fucking bigot, labeled a whatever. Shut the fuck up with your labels. I don't care.
The isms and calling people names and putting them down in the cancel culture. You've been canceled. I've been canceled. And I don't even think I'm mean to people. I just think if you tell the truth too often, the truth's going to get you in trouble. We can lie all day long. We can let this dude play girls basketball at a middle school and hurt 3 people to the point where they have to forfeit the game. That's cool. However, if you say a boy has a penis, you're fired.
Yeah. No, it's wild. And
down is up is down.
It's wild. And again, I think that boils down to, men being men in this country. And,
True.
Men need to stand the fuck up and need to act like men and say enough with this shit and be unapologetic about it, and that's the whole thing with cancel culture is, it drives me nuts when these people get on, say something that offended someone and they have to go on and apologize about, because the left does not give a shit about your apology or the cancel mob, whatever. They don't care, no matter how much you apologize. Like, and I've obviously been super outspoken this whole time about events against all this shit. And whenever anybody came to me and, oh, you're da-da-da, and I was like, oh, cool, you want to apologize? Go fuck yourself. And then it's like, what? That's not, the next person isn't going to come up and try to get an apology or whatever. It's know where the fuck I stand.
That's the
story.
Yeah, that's. I was filming a show. I was swimming with apex predators for a full year, filming a show, proving, because in Buds we all swim in the Pacific Ocean, great white superhighway, but no one's been attacked. I was filming this show to prove you're not on the menu. Filmed it for a long time, the entire year. We're getting ready to. It's a major network. I'm not going to mention them. Right in the summer of love, 2020, and they hit me up and said, "Well, we're not going to air it. We're going to. We filmed this for a year. It cost a shit ton of money to make. Brilliant show, all about the environment, the ecosystem, why sharks are good, why all this is good, and the whales and all that. Violent hippie shit." And they said, "Well, you said on Twitter that BLM." I said something like Black Lives definitely matter, but BLM is a Marxist organization. And I got canceled for that.
Yeah.
But I mean, and that's the truth. And I mean, look at BLM later, a couple years later, they found out they were taking the funds to buy the houses for them and their families and living in the rich neighborhoods. And they're not doing anything for the Black community. It's how do you not see this? And if you do see it, you can't say anything because you'll lose your livelihood.
Yeah, no, but I've always tried to encourage people with that, especially during like the BLM, because I was, very just blatantly saying fuck Black Lives Matter, and I'm not apologizing for that. And like when people would say, "Oh, you're racist," I'm like, that doesn't matter I don't give a fuck what you call me or label me, because it's like, I have 6-pack abs. Like, so do you think if you called me fat, do you think that holds any fucking like real weight or value to me?
Right.
Like, no, it doesn't. Same thing. You call me a fucking racist. I know I'm not racist. So like, it means nothing to me. It's like, shut the fuck up. I don't care. And like, that's what I keep telling people, like, to encourage them to like, just speak up, because that's what the problem is too many people are afraid of these labels. They're afraid of,
yes, they are.
They're afraid of being demonized or canceled or whatever. And it's like, that's why people are too quiet and pandering, and this fucking shit is getting out of control.
Yeah, just because you call me something doesn't make it true. Just because you decide something. I mean, and if you're offended, go fuck yourself. Like, one of the things about me is I encourage people, anything you want, say it to me. And getting offended, that does nothing. It's like, you're right or you're wrong. And by the way, if I'm wrong, I'll admit it. No, okay, fine. I was wrong on that. But I did Greg Gutfeld's show. We filmed that in New York City. And I made a joke inside. And as I was leaving, this 20-year-old white girl pulled me aside and says she was offended at my joke. And I said, which joke? The joke I said was I was making fun of those liberal women that went over to Syria. And I said they had this grand idea of joining the caliphate and becoming an ISIS bride. And then they were disappointed because once they get there, they're getting passed around like a joint at a Fish concert. And that's the truth. And that happened. And she was offended. I'm like, well, go fuck yourself. Go to Syria. I don't think that sexual assault is funny, but ISIS can suck it. You go to ISIS, you get what you deserve. And that, by the way, is a huge dose of reality. Oh, it's like the Queers for Palestine. I will pay for their tickets to go to Gaza. Actually, you know what? Don't even go to Gaza. I'll send you to the West Bank. Go. You go to Syria. Send you to Iraq. Walk around with that flag and see what they do to you there.
Yeah, that's just delusional, you know.
Well, they're being taught bullshit.
Yeah, and people just want to virtue signal and all this stuff, but they don't understand. They really don't understand any of it. They don't care to understand any of it either.
Do you think the leftists, the flag waving blue haired people would change their stance on Hamas if they realize Hamas is the extreme right wing? Because they are. I mean, you got to figure it's extreme right wing. They don't like gay marriage. They're extremely religious.
I think it's more of like, you know, they view like Jews as the white rich people, and they're oppressing the poor brown people. So I think
Jesus wasn't rich, and I think he was brown.
I think yeah, but I think that's what they view it as.
Well, they're being taught that, and you only know what you're taught. All right, okay. We'll get back into this.
Yeah. I could go on and on and on.
I know we are going to, but I gotta hear some Bud stories. We got to get into that, because that's something I do know a little bit about, because I can you know, sort of talk through MMA, but you're the pro there. I want to hear about why the Navy.
I literally joined the Navy because I was bored. I didn't have, you know, I just graduated high school. I was roofing. I was working 3 jobs. I was roofing. I was a surf instructor at Kalahari, and yeah, and I worked at my mom and stepdad's little convenience store, deli store, and I was just doing that. I definitely knew I was not going to go to college, and didn't really know what I wanted to do. And a Navy recruiter had came in one day to the store, and I was with my mom, and he was just like, "Hey, you do you want to join the Navy?" And I was like, sure, why not? And he was like, yeah. And
was that Virginia?
No, that was in Ohio.
I thought you said you were surfing.
At Kalahari, I was a surf instructor. At Kalahari's the largest indoor water park.
Gotcha. Sorry about that. Okay. No, if you knew something about Ohio, I didn't know. That's badass.
Yeah.
So he just came in on a whim. He's trying to fill a quota. He said, fuck it.
Just bored. Yeah. And I was like, you know, I really don't know what I want to do. I didn't like Ohio. And my mom and dad and stepdad were all in the Navy. And, you know, my dad always wanted me to join the military. Like, he always tried to encourage me to join the military. Mm-hmm. And I just had zero interest growing up. I was just like, no, thanks. And he was a combat cameraman for Green Team and SEAL Team 8 and stuff like that.
No shit.
So yeah. So he deployed to Iraq and Desert Storm and all that with the SEAL teams. And so like but I had no interest in like anything in the military. So like he had like, you know, he would dive and jump with the team guys and stuff like that, and shooting and stuff. And so like I just knew he was like a military guy. Like he was like a soldier guy. I didn't really know. I didn't really care. And and like he was always trying to get me doing it. I was like, nah, it's not for me. No, thanks. Not interested. And then I remember my senior year of high school, like all my friends at the time were joining there. They wanted to join the military, and they're like, yeah, let's do the buddy program. We'll all be together, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, no, that's not for me. No, thanks. And then I ended up joining, and none of them did.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah.
Now, was it like, I want a contract to be a Navy SEAL? Or did you know what a SEAL was, but how'd you get that?
So I didn't know what a SEAL was. But that recruiter was like, you look like you're in good shape. Do you want to be a SEAL? And I was like, I don't really. I was like, the only thing I had seen was like the commercial of the footprints coming out of the beach.
Yeah, that's their most famous commercial.
Yeah, so that was like the only thing I knew about them. And I didn't even know that my dad worked like for them or with them. Mm-hmm. So, and my mom was like, yeah, they're like the rock stars of the military. Like, you know, if you were to join the military, that's the only thing I could see you doing. And I was like, all right, sure, whatever. I'll be a SEAL. And so I was just like, yeah,
it's just that easy.
Yeah. I was like, I'll do it. I didn't even know I had to go to BUD/S or anything.
Just put you in. Here's your team. There's your cage. Here's
I
your
was just
fins and
like,
gun.
I was like, okay. And so I went and I rented the movie, or I bought the movie Navy SEALs with Charlie Sheen.
You mean that guy right there?
Yeah, there you go. And
he signed that as Hawkins after the raid. He sent it to me and said, "We did it. Love Hawkins."
Nice.
Great movie.
Yeah. So that was literally my first like introduction to Navy SEALs and like even like an idea of what they were. And I was like, okay, so these guys are like, you know, assassins type people or whatever. And you know, in the movie Navy SEALs, the bud scene, you know, where the guys are like bear crawling like under like barbed wire and mud, and they're like in the woods, and there's like swick boats and they're
like buddy carries and shit.
And they're like what is it called? Spy rigging and shit.
Yes, I remember that. Yeah, I remember seeing that spy rigging.
And they're like, this is, and he's like talking to the girl, and he, you know, there's explosions and shit going on. He's like, this is Bud's training, blah, blah. And I was like, oh shit, I gotta go through all that.
I gotta do that. All this in a
like,
paycheck too.
I was like, okay, that looks pretty gnarly or whatever. And that was like what I thought Bud's was. And then you know, and I called my dad and I was like, hey dad, I'm gonna be a SEAL. I signed up, I'm joining the Navy, I'm gonna be a SEAL. And he's like, what? Like, do you have any idea like what the hell you're talking, like what you're signed up for? And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna be a SEAL. And it's like
shit blows up and I'll be there in no time.
And he's like, you know, you have to go to Bud's. And I'm like, you know, okay, what's that? You know, and then he bought me the Discovery Channel, the 234 documentary.
Yep.
So, and then I watched that and I was like, oh fuck, like I got to go through all that. Like I've only run like a mile in my life, you know.
I was going to ask you that. How was your cardio? Like your swimming and stuff?
I was a sprinter because like I'd played football and basketball and lacrosse. So like it was never like distance running. It was always, you know, suicides and like just lots of sprinting. So I'd never run like further than a mile. Like that was crazy to me. And I remember like seeing in the documentary, like you're running 4 miles in the soft sand or whatever with your boots and pants. And I was like, what the fuck? I was like, why would someone like run that far? That's ridiculous.
So great. What time of year did you go through Great Lakes boot camp?
I went there January like 2nd or something like that. January 2nd or 3rd.
That's
I was there in the winter.
Cold. Yeah, I went through in January. It's
oh my god, boot camp was so fucking stupid. Like,
yes,
I remember like they made us wear these wool sweaters. Like they dressed you like the fucking Michelin Man, you know, and it was just so over the top, ridiculous. And I hate being like really hot, and it was just miserable wearing those itchy ass wool fucking sweaters and those dungarees.
We were putting they put towels on us. We were wearing shower towels as scarves and shit. That's in the 90s. Though. I don't know what they had to do. I didn't have the wool sweater.
Yeah, no, it was definitely annoying.
And then you get orders to Buds. Now, how did that see when you went through? Did you have the Buds pipeline through boot camp or how?
Yeah,
did that
so
work?
I was the first class for the Buds prep. And so yeah, we had like a half and half division where half of the people were going out for some sort of special program, whether it was SEAL SWIC, diver, EOD. And so half of us we had to wake up at like 3 a.m. and go PT with the SEAL dive motivators and do that for like an hour or two every day, and then come back and then start our normal boot camp day. So that was that for boot camp. And then when you got out of boot camp, we did 12 weeks of Buds prep.
Now, what's that?
So it was like just every day was swimming, and then you either swam and lifted or you swam and ran, and you did like it was all just like calisthenics and physical working out, like, and it was just basically a 12-week program, like a workout program, and led by the dive motivators and other there were some civilians too that were like specialists in running, specialists in swimming, specialists in lifting and stuff like that. And they were just trying to get people more physically prepared.
Yes.
But and you know, and that was fine or whatever. I mean, obviously I'd never really like done any of that shit. I had actually learned my combat side stroke the day before my PST from Mike Noss.
Seriously, the day before?
The day before, yeah. Mike Noss was the first SEAL I ever met. Do you know who that is?
I do not.
He's an old Vietnam frog. He's a plank owner at Dam Neck. And
no shit.
yeah, and he's a badass, and he's like 6'2", 6'3", something like that. He's had like a hip replacement. He kind of walks with like a limp, but he swims like a fish still. And he's just, you know, badass dude. And I remember meeting him. He was the first SEAL I met, and he taught me, you know, how to do the combat side stroke the day before I did my PST and got my contract.
Awesome. That makes sense. When they started doing that to get the guys physically prepared, or at least smartly physically prepared to get there. I think now what I've heard, I didn't see any of it because I'd been done with it before that, but I think one of the issues was some of the guys get a little too cocky thinking that's going to be buds, and they get out there and they just get destroyed. Is that, what are your thoughts on the prep?
There was a ton of people quitting all throughout that thing too, you know? And like there was people quitting all from boot camp, all through buds prep, all through, you know, PTRR, in-doc, first phase. By the time you even got to first phase, like 100 people have already quit, you know? And, but yeah, it definitely just wasn't, it doesn't matter how prepared you are physically. Like if you're not mentally ready to just like, and people like, I think that was what I recognized was there was so many people that were thinking like buds is a game that they're going to win or something, or like that they're going to navigate and get through like, you know, and it's just not like you have to go there understanding that the whole point of this is to get you to quit. The whole point of it is to make you miserable and weed out the people that, you know, that are going to quit. And that's it. It's not something that you're going to win the favor of the instructors or something like that. And like, there was people like, I remember like, I tried my hardest and they just told me I was a turd. Like they would like fuck with them, or like, you know, they're yelling about their room inspections and
those
and you know, and it's like how can I fucking trust you on an op? You can't even, you know, get all the sand out of your room, and it's just like, oh God, I'm not worthy. It's like,
and yeah, they'll even if you don't have sand in, they'll bring sand in their pockets and make sure there's sand on your bed.
Oh man, I remember one time my roommates they wanted to so I was married at the time when I went through Bud, so I lived off base, but you know, obviously you still have to have a room there for room inspections and all that shit. And I remember my roommates they lived there in the room all the time or whatever. So I was like, all right, let's, you know, do you guys want to meet up and we'll clean? And they wanted to wait until, you know, like Sunday night or whatever. And I'm like, all right, whatever. And they're wanting to like, just go like ham on this room. And I'm like, let's just clean it as best we can. But like, it's not worth staying up all fucking night and losing all this sleep to, you know, it's a fucking game. Like they're gonna pass you a failure. What's and if you fail, you get a 30-minute fucking extra beat down.
That's it.
Who gives a fuck? Like get wet, get a full night of sleep.
That's it. Yeah, and you're going to be wet and sandy all fucking day anyway. I saw that too. Guys are it's almost guys you're not going to pass.
Yeah.
And they're going to wait till like a week before first phase is over for you to pass. Like you're fucked every single time.
Like they were looking at me like you're a turd for having that mindset, and I'm like, no, you guys are dumb for having your mindset. Like this is you're like just you. I'm not saying just show up like a sloppy mess, but we can spend an hour on this, make it presentable.
That's it.
And if it passes, it passes. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Who cares? But I'm not going to stay up all fucking night.
No,
and
that's
cleaning
stupid.
this. And that's dumb. Like, I'd rather
Yes.
get a full night of sleep and prepare for the day of buds.
That's it.
And,
Get some rest, and then we're taking our medicine all day long.
But I was the asshole for having that mindset. And then, the best thing, that it was so fucking funny, but for me, it was hilarious, but it like, they pissed them off so bad, and they're like, fuck you after that. But like, so the next day we're standing there, in front of our racks or in front of our lockers waiting for our room inspection. And the instructors are just walking through the hallway. They don't even come in the room. They just walk by. Fail.
You're shitting me. I'd never heard that before. Fail.
It was just, it was like just one of the instructors was just in a pissed off mood, and he just walked by and didn't even break stride, didn't even look in, nothing, just walked by, fail. And that was it. And I was just like, I fucking told you, motherfuckers. And and I was laughing, and they were so fucking mad, like my roommates were so fucking mad at me. And and I was just like, look, this is the game.
It is a game.
The game is to fuck with your head. Don't let it.
Seriously, you can't. And you're not gonna win. It's a mental fuck, and it's like, you need to be, concentrating on running on your shin splints and broken toes. Like, we're not past the room inspection. Next evolution, let's make it to lunch.
Oh my God, man. So like, that kind of shit, just like, it just didn't fuck with me at all mentally. Like the instructor shit did not fuck with me at all, because I realized, like, these guys are in a role, and you're in a role, and their role is to fucking make your life miserable, is to make you question whether you want to be here or not. It's to make you fucking want to quit. And like, if you're allowing them to essentially manipulate you, or like how you're feeling and stuff. And to me, I just thought the whole fucking thing was absolutely hilarious. I loved buds, like the like them fucking with people. And I think because in high school I was a roofer, okay, and I was the youngest guy on the crew by far. Like, and these guys that I roofed with, I love these guys to this day. And this one dude, Steve in particular, Steve Minert, shout out Steve Minert. I swear he's like one of the main reasons I got through buds. This dude used to harass the fuck out of me. Like, I'm talking like, you think about hazing or whatever. This dude used to fuck with me so hard all the time. Just like, I was the shingle bitch, I started roofing with them when I was 15, and he just did not give a fuck. He was probably 38 at the time, something like that, but just super immature, but hilarious. And like, they'd be stripping the shingles off the roof, and I'd be having to grab them and run them over to the dump truck, throw them in and stuff. And he would be like, hey, Mitch. He'd be like, hey, bitch, go fetch. And he'd throw the shingles in the yard and stuff like that. And like, he wasn't even that great of a worker, but my boss just literally kept him there for comedic relief, because he was so funny.
Hey, morale is a key to having a good team.
Even though I was the butt of the jokes 90% of the time, I thought they were hilarious too, because I have a dark sense of humor, and and it was just funny to me. And like, everyone else was laughing, and the shit he did was funny, and so it was like, and to this day, like, that was the best job I ever had, like, working with those guys. It was such a fun fucking crew, and me and Steve are great friends to this day.
Oh, cool.
Like,
That's cool.
No, like, it was just fucking hilarious. And so, like, going to buds, I was like, these instructors don't have shit on Steve.
That's awesome. That's so cool.
And so that I was used to that kind of shit, and I thought it was hilarious. I literally thought it was hilarious. Like, I remember one time in a room inspection, one of the instructors came in and opened my locker and just took the shaving cream out of my locker and just covered, like, just my head and face, and just like, with the whole can of shaving cream, my head was like this big as shaving cream. And just because, and I was just trying so hard not to laugh, But
Yeah,
I just
but
have fun with that kind of shit.
like the mindset is everything too. That's part of
Yeah.
it right there. The realization is a fucking game. They're doing their job. Their job is to do this. You can't let it get to you that's the room inspection. Every SEAL I've ever talked to, there's always a room inspection story because that is pure comedy.
Yeah, no, it was funny, dude. I loved seeing the buds instructors fuck with people, even if it was me. Like, it was, if it's funny, it's funny, and that's
Yeah,
just
true.
how I looked at it. Like, yes, and even if it sucks and like we have to, get an extra beat down or whatever, it's like you have to find humor in things,
Yes.
and like especially shitty things. Like,
Yeah, the darker the times, if you can bring humor out, it brings people together.
oh my God. I mean, I had that so much in Afghanistan and just in buds and everything. It's like all the shittiest times you can think of. And there's a ton of shitty times in the SEAL teams during
Oh, God,
training.
yeah.
It's fucking miserable a lot. And if you can't find the humor in these shitty situations, like you're gonna be miserable.
So you get done with buds and head out to the East Coast. So you're back in Virginia Beach, SEAL Team 10, correct?
Yep.
And then how did that now when you were in third phase, did you guys get like a dream sheet? When I went through, we had a dream sheet. At the time, it was 1, 3, 5, 2, 4, and 8. And then it was 1, 3, 5, 7, 2, 4, 8, 10. Did they give you a dream sheet, or did you pick a coast or a team, or how'd you do that?
Yeah, I can't remember if I think we just picked our coast.
Yeah.
And I originally got orders to SEAL Team 5 on the West Coast, which I probably should have stuck with, but at the time, and I was excited, because I liked San Diego at the time, and I was like, yeah, this is cool. And but I remember I told my family that I was like, yeah, I got orders to SEAL Team 5, and they were like, oh, like kind of bummed out. And
Yeah, bummed
like,
out you're not coming back east.
damn, like we wanted you to be here because you're closer, because all my family's on the East Coast, and and I still have family in Virginia Beach and stuff, and I was like, well, and I was pretty close to my family, so I was like, all right. So I switched with someone in my class.
Oh, you could do that.
Yeah, as long as you guys both agreed.
Cool.
So it's like a 1-for-1, and so I ended up getting orders to Team 10, and yeah, and that was cool.
When we went through, they just gave you your orders. And when I went out to the East Coast, SEAL Delivery Vehicle Team 2 was still there. They got rid of that, obviously, because you dive in an SDV in Virginia Beach in the winter has got to be the worst shit imaginable. But when they were giving us our orders, we were in the classroom on San Clemente Island, and they were handing them out. And the instructor who told me, he said, O'Neill, and he went, SEAL Team 2. But between SDV and SEAL Team 2 was the longest half a second in my life. Everything, I hate being in cold water, underwater, and my entire life flashed before my eyes before he corrected himself. But getting the East Coast to me was a good deal too. So getting out to Team 10.
I wish I would have taken SDV orders to Hawaii.
To Hawaii, yeah. There's a big difference between
I had never
Hawaii
been
waters
to
and
Hawaii.
Virginia
I had never
Beach
been to
waters.
Hawaii until after I got out. Right after I got out of the SEAL teams and got out of the Navy, I went on a trip to Hawaii, and I was like, how the fuck have I never? How is no one talking about how fucking awesome Hawaii is? Like, it's amazing.
Awesome.
And I was like, fuck, man. Like, if I would have known this, I would have fucking definitely taken orders to SDV.
Well, it wouldn't have been hard to trade orders for SDV to SEAL Team 5.
Everybody was like dreading SDV. There was only like a handful of guys that got SDV, and everybody was like dreading it because nobody wanted to dive all the time or whatever. But then talking to like a couple of my friends that have been there and stuff, they're like, oh, dude, SDV's that's where it's at.
Yeah.
And
what do you think? Is that like a well-kept secret now? Because Hawaii can't.
They must be keeping it secret.
Yeah, when I went through there, because we didn't have SQT, we had STT, and then you get schools, and they would actually entice guys to take SDV orders just by promising to give them free fall. So because you didn't get it in the pipeline necessarily, like it took me like 4 or 5 years to get free fall at SEAL Team 2, but that was like an incentive. You come out here, we'll teach you how to skydive. But I think, I'm thinking now because I did some training with SDV 1 in Hawaii, and it's like, this is awesome.
Yeah, no, for sure.
But they can keep that. They can keep that mini submarine. I still don't have any desire, especially sitting in the back, just chilling, not moving.
They get to do some cool shit too. You know.
Yeah, they definitely do. They get some pretty big missions. They have since the beginning. What year did you check into Team 10 on the East Coast?
2009.
So the wars are going.
Yeah.
So your first deployment is going to be to Afghanistan then?
Afghanistan. Yep. Yeah.
What? So you get to the teams and you're in a platoon. How long was the workup?
So I had gotten there right in I had like the longest new guy stint ever. It was 3 Christmases. I was a new guy, and I was
Holy
like,
shit.
yeah, I was like, God, this is insane. It was miserable, but yeah, I had gotten there right before the team had checked in, or they were on deployment when I had gotten there.
Oh, right, the whole team goes.
So it was a long time, a long full workup, and then when right before, like, I don't even know, a couple months before we deployed, they were like, hey, we're gonna do some weird thing where we're gonna try to sync up with the Army schedule or whatever, so you guys are gonna do an 11-month deployment. You're basically gonna go back to back. And and we were like, damn, like, because that was, it was always 6 months for the vanilla side, and then you guys did 3 months, and then you went to 4 months.
Yes.
So I remember when I was like, oh shit, okay, that's a long ass time. Like,
so your first deployment was 10 months?
11, yeah.
11 months. Jesus. Where at?
To Afghanistan.
And to which part of Afghanistan?
Helmand province.
Okay. And I mean, how was that? 2009, that's pretty hot down there in Helmand.
It was 2011 by the time we deployed. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
okay.
Yeah, and that was, I think, the bloodiest year of the war. It was really, really heavy with IEDs.
Yes.
That was like a really bad thing that we were dealing with. And obviously extortion happened.
Yep.
During then too, and your guys' raid happened during then, but yeah, I remember I had checked in, was a new guy for that Christmas, and then did the workup, was a new guy for that Christmas, and then I was in Afghanistan as a new guy for that Christmas. And I was like,
I was trying to do the math of how are you a new guy for 3 Christmases, but that makes sense.
Yeah, I was like, I was just like, my God, this is my 3rd Christmas as a fucking new guy. This is
a long time.
This is a long fucking time.
What was the standard day in Helmand province on that deployment?
There was no standard day, I would say. Like, it was, I mean, sometimes we were doing 2 ops a day where it was like, patrolling through different villages, and or like doing, sometimes we got to do some cool shit with the nighttime snatch and grabs, riding the dirt bikes and night and nods. And
that's awesome.
We got to do a lot of cool shit. We were the furthest outpost from any major base in Afghanistan. And so we were at Bagak, and then I don't know if you're familiar with that, but we were at the furthest outpost, and and then like 7 months into that, I mean, like, we didn't have running water the whole time.
Oh shit.
Shitting in fucking barrels that we had cut in half with deck cord and filled up with diesel fuel, and like we literally had to burn our own shit, and eating MREs, and it was like a treat if we got one of the locals to like cut up a goat.
Cut up the goat, cook them in the ground. Yeah. Where was it? Which outpost was this?
That was Bagak.
I haven't even heard of that.
Bagak, and then we moved like 7 months into it or something. We went like 13 miles north to Chinar.
Who was all with you? How many people were, and like SEALs and support at the OP? How many guys were there?
It was my platoon, and then we had like a handful of support guys, like maybe like 5 or 6 support guys, and then we had, like, there was a Green Beret group with us as well, like a platoon of Green Berets.
And like it'd be like you're living in bee huts,
Yeah.
but
And
no running water.
no running water, bee huts. Like we were also having to do watches every night. Like,
yeah.
so, you know,
Well, that's
so
a no shit watch too. That's like
yeah, no, our base got attacked like regularly. So it was, you know, you can't fucking sleep out there, like, you know, literally and figuratively. But yeah, we had to do watches every night. So, you know, we had to watch bill, and it was, everyone was on the watch bill, from the newest new guy to the most senior guy out there.
Wow.
And you know, to try to break it up. And it was pretty hard living, you know. And yeah, no running water at all, no plumbing at all, MREs and shit food, and getting attacked, and you know, and then doing our missions on top of that.
That's
and then like I said, so that was like, and then 7 months of that, like living like that, we're obviously like building up the place the whole time, like trying to
homestead it. Yeah.
Because, I mean, you're fucking sleeping on a tent, you know, or on a cot. I mean, in a tent at 1st, and then like eventually we got bee huts, you know, and it was like, oh, this is a step up. And then it was fucking 7 months in, it was like, hey, we're going north 13 miles to create more white space, you know, and then so it's like, fuck, all right, we gotta pack up and go. And now we're seal bees, you know. So
seal bees.
Yeah. So we're having to fucking fill Hescos and shit like that. And I remember sleeping in using the parachute that, like, from our air supply resupply, you know, using that as like a blanket and shit. And like,
so you're getting no shit airdrop resupplies
the whole fucking time.
Oh my God.
That was the only way we got our shit was resupplies, like airdrop resupplies, and half the shit would burn in, you know.
Oh shit. We were bitching that our diamond shoes were too tight and the internet didn't work.
Yeah, that was like, hey, this is what we got to go do for the first half of the day, is go retrieve the fucking air supply resupply that we just got, you know. I mean, we were working, like, we were doing some bullshit.
Where was the drop zone for the airdrops? How far outside the wire was that?
Like a quarter mile or so. But some of the shit, depending on the wind or whatever, would go.
Oh yeah.
Far.
And plus, I mean, you go out the wire, gunfights, IEDs can be anywhere.
Oh, we had IEDs like within 100 yards of our outside the wire. So it was like, you know, it was like a no shit. Like, we have to put on body armor and guns, and, you know, but like we eventually, like, we were just used to it. Like, we were just like wild children, you know, like desert people out there.
Dude, you're gonna eventually adapt to the Mad Max type Spartan.
Oh my God, it was so much like that. I mean, you know, we're just grungy, fucking nasty, like we haven't showered in months. Smell like, you know, we just smell like wet dogs. I remember doing a like, we rotated every once in a while. We got to go work with our sister platoon, and they were at Camp Simmons or something like that. Or, you know, we had a platoon at Camp Simmons and a platoon at Terran, and they had like nice bases with like running water.
Oh yeah.
And like cafeterias with like good food, and you know, like crazy, like you're living better than at home.
Oh yeah.
You know, and I remember like getting to go there. It was like we were like orphans or something, like, you know, like, oh my God, please, you have food, can I have food? And like, you have running showers, and oh my God, this is so nice. And I remember the first time I took a shower after like 4 months, and and I remember
4 months.
I literally remember being in the shower and, you know, starting to wash off, and it's distinctly smelled like when you give your dog a bath. And I remember thinking, like, it smells like a dog in here. And I was like, oh fuck, that's me.
that must be me.
I was like, wow. And like, you kind of get used to even the stink.
Yeah, you get used to it. You don't even notice it.
Yeah, especially like out there where we were, like everyone, no one was showering. No, everyone stunk, you know? And it was like in the summer, it's fucking 120 degrees.
Oh God, yeah, it's hot as balls.
And, I mean, you're walking like 20-kilometer patrols, like sometimes. Like it was no shit, man. It was it was very hard living for sure.
Oh, it is. Well, and for people who haven't ever been to Afghanistan, and it's a different fucking world, but even when you get off the plane and that you hit that air and it smells like you just walked into an owl's house, and that's day one.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not a nice smelling. I mean, the longest I went without a shower, I think, was maybe 30 days in Iraq. And just walking, flying back to Baghdad International and going into the talk where the computer guys are, and you can see them looking around like, well, who brought the dog in here? And you don't realize it's you until you realize it's you. That's crazy.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. We definitely looked like just these mountain people or something like that, to our even to our own teammates, like that were in the nicer places. Ugh. And they were just like, fuck, man, that's rough. But
did you ever get to JBAD, to Jalalabad or anything like that?
Mm-hmm.
I got my last deployment. My last deployment with Red Team right before the Bin Laden raid. I was running some outstations, but they put me as the senior enlisted advisor at the CIA base on JBAD, and so we got you down near Helmand, living Spartan. The place they put me up. I'm talking your own room with your own shower. They got a nightclub and a bar. Like it looks like a European resort. Like I might as well have, have been in Tahoe, and then you're out there living in the bullshit.
Afghanistan experiences may vary.
Yeah, no shit. It's all about the money too. We got in with the agency, and who knows where their money comes from. The only thing I learned from them is that $1 million cash weighs about 33 pounds. That's all I know.
Yeah, no, we didn't have any of that. And
I
was literally burning our shit, like with a skid steer. I'd go in and pick up the barrels of our shit, and they were just fucking flies everywhere.
Oh god.
And like when you went to go take a shit, like flies all on your asshole, and just it was just awful, man. It was bad. And
I mean, is it worth just going somewhere else and just shitting on the ground?
No. No.
Well, there's gonna be flies on your asshole everywhere. Welcome to Afghanistan.
No, it was that's just how it was, man. And it was fucking like I said, very, very hard living, but it was a cool experience. It was a cool life experience.
Oh no, there's no doubt about it.
Like it really made me kind of realize, like, I don't need fucking anything, because I brought out a fucking, like, a little Pelican case of my belongings, my personal stuff, and that was it. I didn't ask for a fucking care package the whole time I was there from my family. Nothing. I didn't want anything. And the only time I asked for a care package, I was sick as fuck, and just I was so sick because, like I said, it's just unsanitary, whatever, and I got super sick. And I was puking and shitting, and I had 2 IVs hooked up to me. And I remember, like, my ass was just so, like, raw from this shitty toilet paper that we had. And I remember just, like, calling my grandma, and I was like, Grandma, can you please send me some soft toilet paper?
No kidding.
And she was like, oh yeah. I was like, I'm super sick. Like I just, and my ass hurts. I just need some soft toilet paper. And, and obviously it's not like I'm going to get that Amazon overnight type shit.
No, it's going to take a while.
So like a ring route, like, for us to get our mail took at least a month.
Oh,
so
easily.
Like, a month later, obviously, like, I'm feeling fine, and then I get some mail, and it's like a case of soft toilet paper, and I'm like, oh, thanks.
Yeah, but that's a pot of gold right there, man. You can, if you can barter with that. You can probably get anything for some soft toilet paper. So how many do you get any badass ops out there? What's a good story?
I definitely got to do some really cool stuff. That, I don't know. It's, I feel like kind of silly or even awkward, telling like mission stories or anything like that, especially with someone like you, or, there's other SEALs out there on like Damneck, and, just in general, there's other people out there that have done so much more than me that I don't.
You've just been explaining stuff that I didn't even know happened. Come on, give me a break. That the stuff you just told me is, because I wasn't there. Now it's fascinating, but boy, that must have just fucking sucked.
Yeah, I'm just talking about, like, I just feel like I feel silly even talking about some of the ops we've done, even though, like, we did get to do some really cool shit, and but but I just, I don't know. That's not my style to
Okay, okay.
talk about it.
I do have to ask this though. Okay, just me being me. So
But like
what?
the living situation and stuff like that, I'm not, I don't care to talk about that. But
No, but okay, what happened? So the night, because you were in Afghanistan and we flew over from Virginia Beach right around the end of April to go to Abbottabad, Pakistan, and after that happened, what was like people back home saying to you? Because you're a SEAL over there. We had another squadron over there, a bunch of SEAls over there, and everyone, as soon as it happened, everyone's family members like, oh, that was him.
yeah.
What kind of shit did you get for that?
So I'll say a couple things before that too. So one, like when I got there, Blue Squadron was there.
Yes.
And I remember like by the end of our rotation, they had already done their deployment, did a workup, and came back, and they were like, "You guys are still here? What the fuck?" And we're like, "Please get us out of here.
Just take us."
But that was funny. But yeah, no, and then I remember being on a patrol one time, and I swear I saw Bin Laden, and I was like, I got so excited.
Somebody shoot him.
I was like, oh, and I like raised my gun up, and I was just like just I wanted to make sure. I was like, is this?
Yeah, you want target ID on that one,
and because it was during the day, and obviously it wasn't like we were just patrolling through a village, and he was just working with this other guy, but it looked just like him. And I had to like pull people over, like, is this fucking, is this Bin Laden? What the fuck? I was like,
wait, we might get in the war right now.
Yeah, I was like, I'm about to get him. And, but it wasn't him. So I was like, all right, I'll just let that be. And, but then,
but just because of the internet, I've heard that I didn't find him either. So whatever.
Well, so when I remember, May 1st or whenever it was, I had woken up and the news, and all that shit, like the time difference where, everybody had already found out back in America. So I had woken up to all these messages, and I remember like one of like all these messages, like Bin Laden's been got all this shit. And one of my best friends like wrote me, and he was like, it was you, wasn't it? He's like, I know you got it. And I was like, you're fucking right, it was.
You goddamn right it was.
I was like, I fucking got his ass for sure.
Got him. Mark it.
That's funny.
Yeah, that was well. I mean, you mentioned Blue Squadron was over there too, and they were actually they were deployed when we went over as Red Squadron. I mean, we went over there for a different reason, just not to spike anything. But talk about a group of professionals, because if I was deployed and another squadron came over and took that mission, I never would have talked to those dudes again. But they talk about pros, man. They were welcoming and just awesome dudes. They're just solid dudes. But yeah, that's funny. If
kind of luck of the draw, with
just lucky. That's all it was.
Mm-hmm. And that's how it was with like, obviously all the SEAL platoons and troops and everything, all the operators are all capable of, that's the whole point. We're all capable of doing all these missions or whatever, but it's kind of luck of the draw of where you get to go.
Right place, right time. That's it.
Right. And some people have like these amazing fucking careers just like because they just get lucky as fuck and timing and and they get pulled on this op or this way and it just works out that way. And then other guys chase it their whole fucking career and don't see shit. And then other guys, avoid it their whole fucking career.
And that happens too. And no one ever talks about that, but I saw plenty of that too.
Yeah, I definitely saw that. And it was fucking weak sauce.
I know. And we talked offline a little bit about that too. And I'm not here to be negative, but once the bullets start coming at you, it really, again, like we're talking about, if something happens here, you can talk a lot of shit until it's time to throw down. And then
I definitely saw some of that with like bullets flying and, and then it's like, oh, I guess you're not as
see, that's where I got lucky there, because that's the time that it pays off to not be that smart. And that's when I come in.
Yeah. I was always very, very aggressive, and and that's just my personality. It's who I am, and that to me, like there was people that would be like, oh, Mitch was fucking dumb. He was a knuckle dragger. He was this or that. But then it's like but when it came down to gunfight or fighting, like going into a room or something, you absolutely want me there because you know
Absolutely.
that I'm
Oh,
not fucking
100%
around.
too.
And
I'm saying
that was some of the like the best compliment that I ever got from a couple of my teammates is, you know, like if I was going into a room, I would absolutely want you more than, you know, to have my back more than anyone.
that's the best compliment you can get
Yeah,
from your
and to
guys
me
right
that
there.
meant everything, you know.
Everything. Mhm.
And like cuz you know, I always like thought that in that moment I would step up. Like
Oh
when
yeah.
when I was a new guy, like before I had been in a gunfight, before I had been overseas, whatever, you know, I respected combat SEALs so much because I knew that they had been there and done that. And it's like, and I knew that like in reality, you don't know how you're gonna fucking react
Very true.
when bullets fly and like when your life is on the line, and you know when it's for real. And I had guys that were that were ahead of me, but they had never been to combat either. So it's like you don't know how you're gonna fucking react
Yes.
either, you know. And I was truthful with myself, like I don't know how I'm gonna react to that, but I do believe
Yes.
that in that moment I will step up and I will be brave and be a warrior. And like in my first gunfight, I remember like I was anxious to get in a gunfight because I wanted to like I wanted, you know, obviously just going through the whole workup and everything, and
Yes.
you're confident and you're just ready to fucking do the job.
Yes.
So that was there, but like I was also like I want to prove to myself that I am that, you know, warrior that I think I am.
Mhm.
And I remember when that first like gunshots went off and RPG and and machine guns, and I was like excited. I was like, oh shit, this is real, you know, and like it's finally happening. And then my leg just started like trembling like uncontrollably, and I was like, oh fuck, like this is real, you know.
Yeah, this is happening.
But then I stepped up and did my thing, and you know, and that brought me like so much like inner fulfillment of like, you know, I stepped up, and you know, and I was that what I thought I would be.
Yeah, and there is that question before, because you always hear people run to the sound of the gunfire.
And I saw others not.
Yeah, I've seen that too. I've seen people freeze.
Yeah.
I mean, you truly don't really know how you're going to respond. I mean, and it's legit. Like a bullet needs to be right one time, and if it hits you, it hits you. That's it. But I think it's like anything. The more you realize if you're good or whatever, how you handle it, that it does get more comfortable, and it's not quite. For me, it was never the way I thought it would be. It was almost. It wasn't as complicated as I wanted to make it. It was actually very. The more simple we made the planning, the better the mission went. Instead of making everything complicated.
Yeah, no, I definitely saw it, and I saw that a lot in training, where it was like you lay out this big intricate plan, and then you get to target and it's totally different, and it's like, all right,
every time
huddle up and like do a quick like, all right, you do this, that, the third, and those ones always went off so much simpler.
It's almost like the old backyard football game. Okay, you're going to be the bottle cap, and I'm this stick, and we're going to do that and quick go over to that house. That's going to work better than the 2-week plan. How everything's
that was always my experience from just what I saw, you know, real world, and like just seeing that unfold. And you know, to your point, like with the gunfighting and situations and stuff, like I'm maybe you have the same view as it, but like I felt like our training was just so much more intense and over the top scenarios that we put ourselves through. It was so much more than what the real world things were. That was like, it almost seemed like easy in comparison to that.
My initial, especially in Iraq, I started to wonder if I was in the right place. Like, am I missing something? Because like we train so hard, but this is, I mean, maybe they're just really bad or we're just really good. I don't know, but I mean, and that's true though. If you train like that too, and it's, you find, you know, I don't know.
It's like Shane Gillis's stand up. You heard that?
Oh my God. Yes. I love that. I thought it was awesome.
Funny.
That dude's
So
hilarious. Well, he's pushing the envelope too. I think he's bringing comedy back to where we need it because he makes fun of everyone to include himself. He's a funny dude.
Yeah, no, he's hilarious. If
Yes.
you have not seen his stand-up
I
special,
love it. I watched it. It was hilarious. I'm gonna watch it again.
So funny.
What so you're over there for Extortion 17 also then?
Yep. Yeah, no, I was over there, and we were actually getting ready to do an op, and I remember it was like midnight. We had done all of our briefing, everything like that, and got our night vision on, got all kitted up, ready to go. We had walked onto the helicopters like midnight, getting ready to take off, and then all of a sudden they canked it, and we were just like, oh, what the fuck? Like, why are we, why are they canceling this? Weird. And we went back in the jock, and then we had initially heard that it was a bunch of Rangers that were killed, and we were just like, oh fuck, man, that sucks. Like, but they wanted to just cancel all the ops that night, and then I think it was like the next day we had gotten word that it was actually Gold Squadron, and and a bunch of guys obviously knew people.
Oh well, yeah.
So it was definitely a sad time, and
yes.
definitely filled everyone there up with a lot of hate and rage.
Yeah, that was for us. It was, we went from planning missions to planning funerals. It's just an emotional high from May and then a low in August. And I mean, again, too, that's like and it's one of those things, like the simplest answer is what happens, and you watch people spin that up into all these conspiracy theories. Just like, this is war, man, and it just fucking sucks. That's the answer, and you don't want to hear it, but that's it. Yeah, that was a rough time.
Yeah, it's definitely.
So I want to talk about what after the Navy. So you decide you did 10 years, right?
Yep. And I finished up over at TradeEt teaching combatives and CQC, and I had wrote, we didn't really have a good combatives program before I got there.
Had you been training MMA at that point?
Yeah.
How long were you doing it then?
I started competing in jiu-jitsu in 2012, and I started fighting MMA in 2000 and like maybe 14 or 13 or something like that. And by the time I had gotten over to TradeEt, like I think I was a purple belt, and I'd already done multiple MMA fights. I think I was already a champion, and I was like, hey, I think I can, make this program, something better. And, cause it was just crazy to me that like, we didn't have a combatives program as
that is crazy.
And I was like, this is crazy, so I took it on and, wrote the curriculum A to Z, and
oh no shit. I was going to ask you if that was your curriculum.
Yeah, and it was amazing. It was awesome. Everyone who went through the program loved it, and I really made it, focused around operationally focused combative.
Yes.
Like if you're doing a triangle choke on target, something's gone terribly wrong.
Yes, indeed.
And like, there's a place for, that stuff, but this is not like, I wanted it to be realistic. I wanted it to be focused around, our tactics. I wanted our tactics to drive our combatives, not the other way around. And
how did
lessons learned are written in blood.
Yeah. Oh, no doubt about it. And that's one of the good old boy networks too, and a lot of contracts, because I know we've got guys in there that get the contracts to teach combatives, but they really didn't. They're not doing it.
And I think that was a big issue there. And I know that was a big issue with like the Dieter and shit like that. That was a huge issue. And so they weren't able to like bring in other outside combatives and stuff. So there was a bunch of legal bullshit with that. But
totally.
I'm an internal, like, I'm just a SEAL. Like I'm an instructor, and I happen to, know this shit, and I happen to be good at it.
Yeah.
So I wrote the curriculum, made the program, and I was the head instructor and program manager. And
was that a big fight to get that changed over?
No,
really. I think because I think everyone was.
It was abandoned. It wasn't a thing.
Here's how old I am. When I took my first, it was called CQD, which is the Dieter Defense course.
Yeah.
When I went through that, yes, exactly. That's exactly this. I went through that, and here's how old I am. Jocko was in my platoon, and he was a blue belt. So that's how old I am. And even he, at the time, he's going through the course with me. He's like, "This is useless." I can tell you, and whatever. He's trying to explain it, but at the time, the fight, because CQD had those contracts.
Were good.
Was that
the hood drills?
The hood drills were good. Yeah, those were good. I like those.
That was the only good thing about it.
No, the rest of it, the stance and the legs and I think if you tried this shit in a bar fight, you're probably going to lose.
Or leave with the hottest chick there, probably.
So okay, so you do that, and then how many years till you got out?
Yeah, but so I did that, and it went really well. I really enjoyed teaching combatives, and and I just had stacks and stacks of critiques from the newest new guy to senior damn net guys saying that like this was fantastic training, was like extremely realistic, extremely functional, so that made me feel really good. And I felt like this was something that I could give back to the teams, and I felt like it was something that was useful because a lot of times you are handling prisoners or whatever, or you can't just shoot everybody as much as everybody wants to. Sometimes you can't do that, and that's just not what the scenario calls for, or whatever. Or you need this person alive for intel, you need whatever. But human beings are unpredictable, especially in a scenario where they're in fear for their life.
Well, they might die. Yeah.
And they have nothing to lose, so why not try to tackle you or go for your gun or whatever, you know what I mean, or play possum and then attack you. And if and a lot of SEALs did not, when you took away like the gun, when you took away the body armor, when you took away their teammates or whatever, and it's just like, this is the first time you're in a face-to-face altercation with another human being. It's like, that's then everyone thinks like these SEALs are all badass fighters or whatever. That's not always the case. And
no, it's not.
Some of them have never even been in a fight or whatever. So, so it was good to like expose people to that, obviously, before you want to get that under your belt and experience, and not be the first time you experience that overseas in a
real world
scenario. Right. So, and then obviously you got to build off of all of that. So I got to, help people build their confidence in situations like that. And then the program that I put together was really well done with again, the tactics driving the scenarios and combatives. And you could tell, like, just from the first day of people going through it to the last day of the course, like they were just night and day, and so much more confident and aggressive and just like handling it quickly and easily. And I felt like good about that, because I was like, this could really save someone's life overseas, like for real.
Yes, you can.
So that I felt like that was something that I was able to give back to the teams, because the teams had, it had opened a lot of doors for me, and like just, I just wanted to give back, and that was a way that I felt like I did. And so I was really happy about that. And then I got out, and and I was pursuing, like the UFC, because I was fighting, and I was ranked #1 on the East Coast in 2 different weight classes, multiple time champion. I fought in Glory kickboxing, stuff like that. So, I was really enjoying that. And then I started my company, and it was, selling t-shirts. It was my fight, started off as my fight t-shirts. And then that led into, eventually selling supplements, the Smash and Greens, that was the concoction that I'd come up with, mixing these different organic superfoods together. And I would fast with them to cut weight for my fights. And I didn't think anything of it, had zero intentions of starting a supplement company or anything like that. but I posted about this concoction and how I lost weight, and people wanted to, a bunch of my following, I had and started a social media to give back to my sponsors and stuff for fighting. I didn't even have a social media. I grew it organically. And then, all my followers were asking me about, what do I do for fitness, all this stuff. And I didn't think anything of it. And I just shared it. And then all of a sudden it blew up. Long story short, so I ended up like, all right, well, fuck, I guess I'm going to have a supplement company now. And, and then it took off, and people were, losing tons of weight with the Smashing Greens, as because I was the Smashing Frog. That was my fighting name. So
I know that. Yeah.
My followers named the concoction the Smashing Greens. So that,
their followers did.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, they were calling it the Smashing Greens. So I was like, okay. So because it was like 7 different products that I bought from like the vitamin shop and mixed them all together into this concoction, and they called that the Smashing Greens. And then, I was getting bombarded with questions like over and over and over, and I didn't have any association with these companies. I wasn't making any money off of them or whatever, but I was like, people were losing weight and it was helping people. And my brother lost 110 pounds. Like,
that's so awesome.
And so I was like, all right, this is cool. Like, it's helping people, whatever. So I'll answer questions, but I was like, fuck, man, this is just taking so much of my time. And then, so out of pure annoyance, like, I was like, all right, I'm going to go to a manufacturer and just say, hey, can you take all these products and mix them into one? And they'll be called the Smashing Greens, and it'll be my product. And they're like, yeah, sure. So I did that, and the Smashing Greens were born. And and then it just like blew up. And all these people were losing weight and doing these challenges and stuff. And now, we've turned into a multi-million-dollar company, and all through my Instagram, and just organic word of mouth, and the products are really good and they really work well. And so we've literally paid no money for advertising over the years. And but then, obviously I had my social media, my Instagram was really my only platform. And I was up to 370,000 followers. And then during COVID and all that shit and the vaccine mandates, and I was very outspoken against all that, because nobody was talking, like nobody was
saying
using their platforms to because everyone was worried that they were going to get their platforms deleted, because and that was a really very real possibility. But I just felt like it was like too important not to fucking talk about. And unfortunately, they came for me and they deleted my shit. And that really negatively impacted my business, in a really bad way. So,
well, I mean, think of what a shame that is too. Just you mentioned that your younger brother had a weight issue. Then you say with these greens and the fast, he lost 100 pounds. And I've seen, I mean, the results are there, and the fact that you're the boss, but you're using them. And I see what you post. I know you're fasting right now. And I mean, you can see the results in you. Like how I got onto to Massive was through Jeff Gum. I saw I hadn't met you, and I saw a video where you did a 50-meter underwater swim, and I was like, that's pretty sick. And then like the next day, like, now I'm going to do a 75-meter underwater swim. It's like, holy shit, who does this? This guy's a fucking badass. And then, I got introduced to you, whatever, and you sent me, and this is not a promotion for me at all. I still use the protein and the greens. The new greens are fucking exceptional, but like the protein, that strawberry, I can make it taste like a milkshake. I use it every day after my workouts. The product's incredible. You can see the results, and you would think, just on a physical level, like, everyone's supposed to be healthy. This is what people want. And just because you say something that needs to be said, that's the truth, it shuts down a business. It's taking away from you, but it's also other people are missing out on something that tastes great, that helps them out get results. And if you get into a physical form like that, everything in your personal life is going to be better, because you feel better. You're more confident, the positive energy. And then some fucker out in Napa Valley, because you said something that was right that they didn't like, they shut you down, and you're losing a lot of reach, right?
I mean, it literally cost me millions of dollars. I mean, it tanked our sales, because, you know, just imagine, like, how many people do you follow on Instagram? You know, like a couple hundred.
Yeah.
Like, so if one of those people just all of a sudden just their profile was gone, you wouldn't even notice, like,
No.
unless you like really fuck with that person hard and like search them out daily, or you know, or wanting to see something from them. You're not going to even notice if one person just kind of just disappears. And that's what happened. And you know, and every day to this day, I get people like that message me, oh shit, I didn't know where the hell you were, I didn't know what happened to you, you know. And yeah, that it really sucked, because like I said, I had not spent any money on advertising. Like, all of it was legitimately just word of mouth, organic, from our Instagram, and people spreading the word like that. And I had a very engaged, you know, following and stuff.
Yes, you did.
And yeah, and I spent all my money on making the products, the best products that I can, and, you know, spent no money on marketing or advertising. And so it really just, like, it really fucked me hardcore.
And the products are, I mean, they're seriously exceptional.
Thank you.
Well, we got an audience here. Where should they go to get? I mean, you got to try these greens, definitely. And I'm telling you, get the protein. But where to go?
We don't even sell protein anymore, because
really,
because I took such a financial hit, and I
didn't even know that.
Yeah, I started this business, you know, from selling t-shirts in my bedroom, you know, and I'm totally self-funded, no loans, like, from no help or anything like that. Like, you know, so I don't have any investors. I don't have anything. It's just me, like, totally bankrolling this, and I don't come from money. And so I had to, when that happened, I really had to, like, refocus, like, and on just the greens and the reds, and like the collagen, like our top sellers. And I had to let everything else, like, just sell off. And because it's costs a lot of money to get these big purchase orders and get these products, you know, it's not like you can just buy a one-off. You have to buy in bulk, and they're expensive. And when you're funding it yourself, you're limited.
Okay, now I do have stake in the game, because I want you to start making the protein again. So I need to hear that website. We got to get people to it. That protein's amazing. Where are they going to find it? Go try these greens. The new ones are exceptional. Which website should they go to?
Massive Supplements, MASF Supplements.com.
MASF Supplements.com.
Yep. And that's, you know, our smashing greens and our smashing reds. Those are our staple products for sure. The greens are by far our #1 seller.
Yes.
And the new greens are NSF for Sport certified. They're USDA certified. They taste phenomenal.
Yeah, I've seen videos of people tasting them, and I mean they're excellent. They're unbelievable, and people are freaking out when they taste it. People need to try these, and they're really, really good.
Yeah, they're by far the most nutrient dense greens on the market. And you know, and that's the thing, is like, we didn't sacrifice the density of the, you know, ingredients in there. Like most greens you see, like, if you look on the back of the label, like the serving size is like 7 to 8 grams or something like that. And, you know, they got 50 ingredients in it. And like, how much do you think you're getting? How much wheatgrass do you think you're getting in that, if there's 50 ingredients and it's only 7 grams, right? Like, it's just not that much. But like, ours are 16 grams per serving. I mean, we have 4 grams of wheatgrass per serving, per scoop, like, you know, alone. And we have spirulina, chlorella, like dense, you know, dark greens, dark, you know, algae, like things that are very hard to mask. Yes. And our greens, I guarantee you, are the best tasting greens on the market, hands down. The most nutrient dense. Like, I stand by them 1,000%. Like, if you try them and don't like them, we'll send your money back, whatever. But these are phenomenal greens, and reds are awesome too. So,
like I said, I've seen testimonials, people making videos and posting themselves
right here so you can see.
And then as you're grabbing that stuff too, I love it. Stands for Move Ahead, Stay Focused, correct? MASF?
Massive. Move and stay focused.
Move and stay focused. Move and stay. I knew it stood for something else. That's up to you if you want to say it. I think it's awesome. There they are. Smashing red, smashing greens. MASF supplements.com. Go try those. I swear to God. And I'm not doing the fast yet, but when you follow Mitch on Instagram if you can find him. But if you see the results, I mean, you look good, bro. I'm just saying.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I'm on day 2 of the fast. I'm doing a 5-day fast. So just
Cool.
Monday through Friday. And a bunch of my followers are doing it with me right now. So
Yes.
that's cool.
Which social media sites should they visit?
I'm on Instagram at MITCH_AGUIAR. And yeah, and I'll be doing a massive meltdown all of March. So that's basically
that's a good one too. People seriously get to that. Follow them on Instagram. And I got a daughter here, man. She's brand new. We'll see what I might be fasted just because I don't have time to eat. We'll see.
Don't be a pussy, Rob.
Fuck, there it is. I getting called out. Damn it. See, this is why we didn't do this.
That's why I got Ray Cash to do he's doing the fast right now. He's doing the 5-day fast.
But you and Ray Care, you're dudes that are your abs have abs. I'm not there. I'm pushing.
Well,
50
he came over here to the HQ and he was talking about it or whatever. And he's only done, I think he's done only a 3-day fast ever.
Mm-hmm.
And I was talking to him about it. And I was saying, yeah, I'm doing this 5-day fast Monday to Friday. And I was like, it's not fucking hard. It's literally just your mindset or whatever. And he's like, yeah. And I was like, don't be a fucking pussy, Ray, do it. And he was like,
tell me what does a fast entail? What am I allowed to eat or drink on a fast?
So it's not a traditional fast in the sense like you're not depriving yourself of nutrients, right? You're actually saturating yourself with organic, abundance of organic nutrient dense superfoods. So you're not going to be physically hungry. I haven't eaten in 2 days and I've worked out fucking 6 times and I'm not hungry.
How often can I have the greens and reds if I fast?
As much as you want.
Really?
You're not going to want them more than I've never seen. You're not going to want them more than 3 times a day because they're too filling.
All right. Here's the, I will tell you this.
You can have a protein shake after you work out.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm not committing yet, but I want to see the response we get. If we can get more people to do this, I'm 90% there. I got to see how my baby daughter's doing, but this sounds like something I can get into. I'm trying some of that health kick shit too. Okay.
So and you might be more interested in the March one because the meltdown, that's every other day fasting for the whole month of March.
March meltdown. When do we do it? The whole month?
The whole month. So it's every other day is fasting with the greens and the reds. You can have collagen, BCAAs. You can have a protein shake after you work out. So it's not like you're deprived of nutrients. Like you're still getting a shitload of nutrients. You're just not physically eating physical food.
All right, I'm definitely interested, and I want to see what people think about this. I think we get some people involved. This is actually a really cool campaign. And just for the record, I've never even considered a fast, but I'm really considering this. This is cool.
So, like I said, so March would be a good one for you because it's every other day, and then on the days that you eat, it's clean eating. It's single ingredient, whole natural foods. So has one ingredient: chicken, broccoli, whatever. If it's one ingredient, if it's a natural product like from an animal or it grows,
yes, okay,
single ingredient, whole natural foods. You can eat those on your clean eat days and then fasting with the supplements on your fasting days for the whole month of March. And I guarantee you're gonna fucking drop some fat and like be looking.
All right, that sounds awesome. I'll get back with you about that, but I'm definitely intrigued. All right, before we roll out, there's one more story I've been dying to talk to you about.
Okay,
because I saw it. You were doing an Instagram live at a diner out west, right? And some fucking and we all, as Navy SEALs, we all run into a fucking fake SEAL once in a while. I watched and I didn't even know who you were when I saw it. Tell me that story because it's fucking hilarious.
Okay, so yeah, I was out at a diner called Norms. It's like a chain diner, I think, and I was in Los Angeles. I was training out at Black House MMA, and I went to this diner all the time just for lunch, and at the time, this was back before my Instagram got deleted, and I had a real big following and really engaged audience, and I would do the Mitch show, which is live. Yeah. I would basically go live on my Instagram. I call that the Mitch show.
Yeah,
and I would just talk to my followers about whatever. all the time. And I always had like hundreds of people on there. And I was just eating my lunch at a random ass diner in the middle of the afternoon in Los Angeles. And I think I was in Torrance, California, and which is in LA. And I'm sitting there just talking, and then there's this older black guy next to me, and then this older white guy, and they're probably in the late 50s, early 60s, something like that. And I'm just sitting there, eating my lunch, talking on live, and then all of a sudden I hear Navy SEAL, and I just kind of like look over and I kind of listen in, and this older white guy's telling this older black guy that he was a Navy SEAL.
Uh-oh.
And I was like, that, you could just kind of tell, especially SEALs, like there is such thing as SEAL radar. Like you can pick up another SEAL, and like Rob and I don't look alike, but and all SEALs kind of look different, but there's just something, a way that you carry yourself. It's an aura. I don't know what the fuck it is, but
it's even the language sometimes.
Yeah, but
there's certain things you just don't say, you do say.
I mean, I was just this just happened to me I was rolling jujitsu at a different academy here, and I was just rolling with this guy. No words were even said or whatever, but I was just like, "Are you a SEAL?" And he was like, "Yeah." And I was like, oh, "Man, so you just know." But anyway, so definitely.
And now, how'd you just know? Was he writing a book at the time? What's going on?
Yeah, no. Yeah, no.
I'm kidding. I'm sorry.
Putting some hair gel in now. But no. So anyway, I just, you just got a hunch, obviously, and like imposters are everywhere, and it's very strange to me. But I'm listening to this guy. I'm like, okay, obviously this dude's full of shit.
Yes.
And I was live on Instagram, and people are hearing the conversation, because I'm like, hey, what did you say? Did you say you're a Navy SEAL? And he's like, oh, baby shark, and starts making like jokes about it. And then he's like, yeah, I was a SEAL, da da da. And I'm like, oh yeah, really? That's interesting, and then everybody on the live is hearing this, and they know right away that this guy's full of shit. And so I like pan the camera over and like show like that this guy is talking, and then I'm just like, oh yeah, and I just start asking him questions and just letting him dig his own grave, for 5 minutes and make a fucking ass of himself. And he's saying he was a SEAL on Camarillo Island, and and that he used to do the job on, it was like an extra duty on the weekends.
Yeah,
and all this stuff. And I was like, oh wow, that's crazy, just letting him go on. And then I was like, you know what, man, I don't think you are a SEAL. And he was like, oh, you don't? Why? And I'm like, because I am. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, do you know what this is? Do you know what this means?
Oh shit.
And he's like, oh, it's tattoo. I'm like, yeah,
that's a bone frog, bro.
Yeah. But yeah, and he's like, oh, tell me what it is. No, I'm not fucking telling you.
Now, did he just say, yeah, I'm full of shit, or did he try to go with it for a second?
I can't remember, honestly. I think he didn't, not right away. I think right away he tried to like, yeah, I am, like push back. And then I got very like threatening demeanor, I guess you can call it. And
I can live with that. Yeah.
Yeah. And I can't remember. I think he did kind of say like sorry or something, because he tried to shake my hand. And I was like, I don't want to shake your fucking hand.
No.
And I was like, if you were fucking 10 years younger, I'd have knocked you the fuck out. But
yeah, it's time to pay the check and leave at that point for him.
Yeah, well, I paid my check and left. And
no, I mean he should have picked up everyone's check.
And I pointed the camera at him and I said, "Not a SEAL." And and then I posted it on YouTube, and I was still active duty at the time. And but to me it was like, fuck this guy. He's the one who's stolen valor. Like,
yes.
I have fucking friends that are dead and like that gave everything to earn that title, and you're just in here fucking trying to be cool and
running your mouth.
In a diner, just trying to, impress some fucking stranger. Like, you have no idea, like you know,
Yeah,
how
no idea.
disrespectful that is.
No idea, no respect. It's all fucking game.
Yeah, and you know, so it really pissed me off, and so I posted it like fuck this guy. Let's you know, out him. And I got like in trouble for posting that because it went viral.
Oh yeah, dude. I saw it too. Like I said before, I even knew who you were.
Yeah, that video that's still on YouTube floating around or whatever, that's been taken down like 3 times and it still has like 500,000 views. I posted it originally and it got like 800,000 views in like 2 days. And yeah, it went viral, and then my command got all fucking pissed, and you know,
the command got pissed.
Yeah, they made me take it down, so I deleted it or whatever. But I was like, it's viral. It's on the internet.
Yeah, it's out there. Yeah.
What's the fucking and I was like, I was confused as to like, what's the fucking problem here?
No,
like,
you stood up for something.
Yeah, this guy's fucking. You're mad at me for calling out a fucking guy who's pretending to be a SEAL. Like I didn't assault him, you know,
and you could have.
I could have, but like I didn't. I just outed him and like publicly shamed him. Like what? So like half of and that was like one of the things I fucking could not stand about the military is you have so many bosses. And it was like half of my bosses were like, yeah, right on. That was dope. And the other half were like, oh, you shouldn't have done that. You shouldn't have posted da da da. And it's just like, okay, cool. What like, so which one am I in trouble or not?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? I had to go to a DRB for that. And like,
are you shitting me?
Yeah. Like it was fucking stupid. And you know, and I'm like, this is so fucking dumb. I could not wait to get out of the Navy.
Yeah, I know. That's the thing with retention too. Like we were saying earlier, you get politics involved. You got everything's political at that point in the military too. That many bosses, that's bullshit.
Yeah, and you just have like, yeah, it's and that's how it was with my fighting too. It was like half of my bosses were cool as fuck, and they were like, yeah, this is a good thing. It's a good look. Like,
it's a great look.
And I'm like, dude, I'm a SEAL. Like, I'm in really, really good shape, like in better shape than most of you.
Yeah, and you look the part. You think
I'm like, I look the part. I'm out here like
fighting.
I'm beating people's asses like super aggressively in the cage. It's a good look, like use me as a recruiting tool. Like
that's what I'm saying. That's you are a Navy SEAL, and that's what someone they're trying to recruit thinks that is a Navy SEAL, and that's exactly what we're supposed to look like.
Right, and it's
you get the admin.
You know, don't you want this? Like, you know what I mean? I'm like, this is a good look for it. Like,
yeah, it's a great look. MMA, Navy SEAL, abs, punches, kicks, and jiu-jitsu. What's wrong with that? That's what you want.
I wasn't posting operational shit. I wasn't posting like anything, you know, controversial. Like it was just, and it's like, I have a bone frog on my chest. People know I'm a SEAL. Like people know about SEALs. It's not the fucking 80s anymore, you know, or like,
the word is out.
The word's out, and like, and I just thought it was kind of like a little bit hypocritical, where it's like we literally do our training at Coronado Beach, and people
in front of the hotel
and watch fucking, you know, at the Hotel Del, and they watch rock portage, and they watch us
they do
run by the beach, and we take our shirts off.
Yeah, that's even the instructors back then would say take them off so we can show the people what we look like,
and not, you know, like. And then, like, not to mention, like, we literally stop traffic, and not just stop traffic. As we run across the street, we scream. Like,
oh yeah. It's not a big secret.
What is going on here? Why is this such like? I just don't get it. But and all that politics. That was all frustrating to me, and you know, and I was just very excited to get out of the Navy and be free. And not have to answer to anybody. And you know, I had a ton of great experiences in the SEAL teams for sure. And you know, I'm very thankful for my time in the military and the life experience, and you know, doors that it opened, etc. But yeah, I was definitely ready to be free, and thank God I got out when I did, because there's no fucking way in hell I would have been able to be in the military during COVID.
Oh no, I know.
There's no fucking way.
Yeah, it's a retention thing that eventually the chickas are going to come home to roost, and they got to figure out the retention. They got to figure out the recruiting, and I don't think a lot of this woke shit's going to work. And it's, I mean, it's going to take another war to. I don't even want to get into that. It's just it's a shame. You and I are going to do this again for sure. Again, it's massivesupplements.com, MASF supplements.com.
And then violenthippie.com.
That's another one you want to go to. Say that again.
Violent Hippie, HIPPIE, violenthippie.com. And
dude, go get Violent Hippie shirts. I swear to God, it's a head turner, a conversation starter.
Cool shirts.
Let's see what you got. Violent Hippie on the back there. There we go. I love it. I'm a big fan of the tie-dye too. I wear that around too.
Be kind or else. Yeah, we got tie-dye shirts.
Be kind or else. And then Adopt a Cop, BJJ. Can they go check that out?
Yeah, and that's adoptacopbjj.org. That's a charity. So if you want to donate to that or whatever and get some police officers,
totally worth it. Great charity.
Yeah.
Well, Mitch, this is awesome, dude. I love having your brother. We're going to do it again for sure. I'm going to be in touch offline about the March meltdown. I got to see what happens with the baby and the wife and all that. Who knows? Maybe I can talk the wife into
by the way.
Thank you. I appreciate it. We're excited, man. I'm pumped. I got this will be another daughter. So I'm going to, like I was telling my sister today, I'm going to set up a snow cone stand so I can raise money for these weddings.
Nice. Well,
all right, brother.
Really,
I'll be in touch.
I really appreciate you having me on. Thank you so much.
We're going to do it again, brother.
Look forward to doing the next one, hopefully in person.
Yeah, we will. All right, brother. Thank you.
All right. Thanks.
Wow, huh? That is quite a story, man. I'm looking forward to it. Let me know in the comments also if we should do the March meltdown. I'm like I said, I'm intrigued. Got to see how it goes with the baby girl. If she's cooperating, maybe. I don't know. Let me know in the comments, man. That sounds great. And go check out massivesupplements.com, MASFsupplements.com. Check out what Mitch has going on there. The Smashing Red, Smashing Greens. It's awesome. March meltdown, all that stuff. Adopt a Cop BJJ, like Mitch was just saying. That's very, very cool. It's important that we take care of each other, take care of the vets, take care of law enforcement, first responders, man. That's a great, great deal there. Massivesupplements.com. That's cool. So let me know what you think about it. I want to hear if you enjoyed this conversation. We can do a lot more of this. And remember, you take your Smashing Greens, you're never out of the fight.